I'll turn it down from here.
Oh.
Hi, Steve.
Hola, good sir.
Hey,
How
can
are
you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm good. My PC isn't as good. It's operating really badly at the moment, but I'm just going to have to wing it. So if I disappear, you'll know the PC crashed.
Oh, don't disappear.
I'm just
That's not good.
I'll try not to. Just having some problems with the hard drives, and it needs replacing, really. I've got an old spinny drive, which is giving me a problem. I need to make it into an SSD.
I cannot stand PCs.
I know, we got rid of
PCs
ours.
can be a real pain.
Especially anything that involves music or streaming.
We had to abandon ship on ours.
It's called the problem childs of computers.
Mm-hmm. Well, you just need a driver for every damn thing, and it's just not as fast as a Mac can process in my mind when you're dealing with music.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, do you know what? I ran Cubase 13 on my PC, this PC here, and it was fine up until you have 5 tracks running, and then it was going, oh, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'm going to need more than 5 tracks if I'm going to do what I really want to do. So I managed to get hold of this lovely MacBook Pro, put Cubase on there, and I've thrown, I don't know, 10 tracks at it, and it's gone, yeah, come on, bring it. It's no problem at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
that's what it's
problem.
designed for. Yeah.
It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful piece of kit.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, today we're going to go into the topic of distraction.
well, what's that?
Oh, I thought you were going to say destruction. I was like, no, why? Why are we doing that?
Distraction seems to be a thing for a lot of us musicians, far and wide. And how do we balance our distraction and still push forward with the music?
You got to elaborate for me with distraction. Distraction like focusing on a certain project or like outside?
Yes, focusing on projects, setting that aside, focusing on your life, you know. I look at a lot of us and we are consumed with content, right? A lot of us here, because I see you everywhere. And then we all are, we're music creators and we're content creators in ourselves, most of us at least. And then that's a distraction from something, you know, in your real life. And then once you go back into being an adult and having to handle real world problems,
We're adults.
right?
Sometimes.
You want a different distraction, you know. So what's the balance of distraction look like for everyone?
I think what really made the whole internet huge, and social media and your phone and just consuming everything, what really made it huge and extremely addicting, if you weren't addicted to it already, was, and I'm using quotations, but you guys can't see me, COVID.
Oh,
And
yeah.
hunkering down at home.
Yeah,
You couldn't go anywhere.
right.
I think before then it was a balance between the two. There was a balance between consuming stuff. At least for me, there was, because we were able to go out. We were able to actually go to the grocery store, go for walks, go to the movies, go to restaurants. And then COVID came and everything just shut down. So where were you able to go? Inside your house and in the backyard.
Yeah.
And then if you lived really close to neighbors or in an apartment,
Yeah.
you couldn't even do that.
Right.
Like it was,
You could,
for
but
a lot of people, it
a
was
lot of people,
scary,
right?
and they just weren't
People
in
just
that.
didn't understand what was going on.
Right, but then there was also a lot of people who didn't have their health up to par
Right.
to fight this new flu strain that we had. So
So you saying COVID was
I think COVID heightened the distraction element of everything.
Well, it also pushed people further into their devices too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
It
It
also
made them more, because that's all you had.
that's all you really had. And you were glued to the
It's-
to YouTube and the news because you wanted to know what was going on constantly.
Well, and not only that, but you didn't have anything, no other outlets besides being able to go out and socialize with another human being. There wasn't any movies being done, any TV series being done. Everything got shut down. So you didn't have anything. You only had what YouTube was doing, what Instagram was
Robbie.
doing, Twitter, you know, whatever other
Hey, Robbie.
social medias, you know, you have out there. That's all you had.
Right.
I think that's a bit of a generalisation.
You're on mute, Robbie, just FYI.
I have to say, the first COVID lockdown, I absolutely loved it because it was so quiet. There was no traffic on the road. There was no people outside. It was eerily quiet.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really lucky. I live literally by the sea. The sea is just through that wall there behind you.
Yeah.
And I can take 10 or 12 paces and there's the sea. And there was no one. It was incredible. It was really nice and refreshing not
Peaceful.
to have to bump into people and all the traffic, because it does get very busy. There's the main road in front.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the first time around.
Yeah.
Second time, not so much. All the mask thing really irked me, I got to say.
Yeah.
And let's just not get into that at all. But I've got to say, someone mentioned online earlier on, I used to be a pretty big gamer, pretty much every night. Don't do it now, but I was fairly well addicted to the machine because of that anyway. And I always have a laptop with me during the day, pretty much. Certainly got my phone with me all the time. So for me particularly, I don't think it was a massive change as it was for a lot of people. And I do understand it was a big change for a lot of people, but for me it had a fairly minimum impact. But there you go, that's just me. How about Robbie munching on his digestive biscuit?
And you know, when I say distraction,
Nice.
I don't mean distraction in a negative way either when I say it. You know, I just know that sometimes distraction can be a translucent thing, and maybe it takes something like COVID for you to realize, oh, I've been distracted by a lot of things in my life, and was there balance here?
I know for me, and this is outside of COVID, it was, man, and I don't want to do the I coulda, woulda, shoulda, but I was distracted from playing the bass more times than I really wanted to than not, because I was distracted, or I just didn't have I didn't have the drive to go do it. So I was distracted and getting better at the bass. But outside influences, whatever. Just a big
And
distraction.
you were just probably much more busier.
Yeah,
Because you were able to go out.
But I still had like 2 hours
You
too,
know what I
like
mean?
to put down behind it, you know.
Yeah.
And I obviously loved the damn instrument, but it wasn't until we started the 100 day is when I like found this new glory of it, and I thought all that time I could have just put these few hours, but now that we've kind of put ourselves in a corner and forced ourselves for that 100 day, I think now it's like, now I can't put it down.
Right.
You know, so now I'm like, I found this new way of not being distracted, but now I have to balance things out now.
Right, because now you added another distraction.
Another distraction.
Biscuit has a great point, and that's probably a whole other topic too. Is he said, the thing that distracts me the most is my mind.
Right. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well, how so?
I mean, your mind just goes wild. It doesn't let you focus.
Well, I mean,
It's hard to focus when your mind is always trying to focus on
I guess
bunch
you're
of
right.
different.
Yeah.
I mean, perfect example at night. You're trying to focus to rest and sleep, right?
Right.
But does your mind let you?
No, sporadic thoughts and the what ifs and
Well, yeah, me personally, once I wake up in the middle of the night,
thinking. Yep.
I'm up. Once my brain is up, it's up. That's just for me. It's hard for me to go back to sleep unless I'm super exhausted.
Well, Crazy Rabbit says, if you're having fun, are you distracted? And I would say yes, because having fun is it's a distraction from not having fun. It's a distraction from any multitude of things. You know, because you're focused in on the fun.
But then it's a good distraction, is what you-
Right. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to label distraction as this bad thing, but how much control do we have over it as far as balance? And does one side give to another?
Well, there's always that yin and that yang balance, right, of everything.
Mm-hmm.
You always have to balance everything.
Yeah.
So that brings up a question. Do we spend most of our time in our imagination or in reality? And that goes to anybody. Anybody can answer that.
Imagination or reality? Huh. Robbie? He's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know, really. My imagination, I think it's probably a 50-50 thing. With, sometimes it's 60-40, sometimes it's 70-30, and it could be in either direction. But most of the time I'm fairly grounded in reality. That's kind of who I am. I'm more of a, I wouldn't say I'm a pessimist, but I'm more a realist when it comes to that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, sure, I will sit and when I have time to sort of ponder and go off somewhere. I dream very frequently. I mean, literally every night I'll have a dream, and I never have a scary dream. And I think that's a lot to do with the way I process information when I'm conscious. So, if something's troubling me, I will analyze the fuck out of it. When I'm awake, when I can, when I'm able to, think rationally, rather than worry about it, go to bed, have a really scary dream that might be inspired by, those concerns. So I don't know. I think it's whatever is relevant at the time. I think I can sit and talk to people, and my imagination can run wild. It doesn't mean that I'm not focused or present in the moment. Imagination is a very creative tool,
Right.
Yeah.
and as we're all musicians of one form or another, and if we don't have imagination, we don't make the music. When we're jamming with you guys, that's our I think we're all hearing things in our heads and think, oh, let me try that, and we're imagining how that might sound, and then we actually try it, and then it works or it doesn't. So.
Right.
Yeah. James says the mind takes you places you can't physically go to.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also the imagination can take you places where it draws up this whole narrative that would never play out the way you think. Like you can
Right.
sit here and draw a whole worst case scenario and it'll turn around and be like, oh, well, that wasn't so bad.
Right.
So I think at times, sometimes we kind of expect or unconsciously live in the imagination as how you think it's going to play out.
Uncle Chrome said something interesting. He said, "Are dreams us debugging our internal coding?"
The brain is an incredibly deep and powerful thing.
Right.
And we have the subconscious and the conscious, and our brain is receiving information all the time and processing that, but we are not always aware of that. So the subconscious brain is taking in loads of things, and a lot of the time these things get passed over from the subconscious to the conscious. A lot of the time they don't, and when we go to sleep, we are our unconscious is now kind of free to run wild, and we play in that area, which is all very weird and wonderful and influenced by all these things, and you can wake up and think, what the hell was that dream about? And you'll have no idea, but almost certainly, quite frequently, it will be something that you've encountered or processed, but not not in your conscious brain, but in your unconscious brain. That's how I understand a lot of that. But
I always thought of that. I always thought all the people that I come across and meet and see, even the ones I just glance at and drive by or look, and then I know our brain stores this information. Some of it, it's just like, okay, we don't need to hard file that on a hard drive. We'll keep this in the loose file, and then in our unconscious sleep, the unconscious can then go to those like proverbial files and then start to build this
Construct.
narrative.
Yeah.
And not only does it build a narrative, but it builds something that is sometimes so well put together that you wake up from it and go, well, that was like a damn movie. That dream was like a movie.
yeah.
How is my mind able to do this?
And
you
store
know?
all those faces and
Right.
images. EchoCraft says, unfortunately for me, it's reality.
Mm-hmm.
So he spends more time in reality than his in imagination. Which I think, you know, and I don't know for a fact for half God, half beast, but, you know, in fact, let me ask you, Bicky, if you're up at night and you need a distraction because you're tired of thinking about what you're thinking about, do you just go to YouTube? Because that's what I do. I just go to YouTube, use it as a distraction because I don't want to
Entertain the
continuously entertain the stress and the what if, you know.
Yeah, you know what I do? I play solitaire,
Oh, that's good.
and I try to always beat my previous game, meaning try to do it quicker than the previous game, so that your mind is working, right, but not focusing on, you know, the endless thoughts, the worries that go through your head in the middle of the night. And then your mind gets tired because you're trying to focus on doing this game quicker.
So you're just trying to exercise the mind and wear it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done that where I've entertained.
It works.
I've entertained my thoughts, and I've entertained them till they exhausted my own
Yeah.
mind.
Mental fatigue.
Mental fatigue, and then I'll just go to sleep. Like
Yeah,
at
well,
some point, your mind just gives up.
Yeah.
I never go to bed, or I try very hard and generally succeed to never go to bed without really wanting to go to sleep. Otherwise,
Right,
I
yeah.
will lie there and
Yeah.
I'm still awake. I'm still you know,
Yep.
active. So this is why I'll sit down here till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes, because I'm waiting for that moment when my head says to me, "Yeah, fuck it, you're done. I gotta
Yeah.
go to bed." And then I'll go upstairs, do what I do, get into bed, put my head down, and I know I'm out.
And you're out.
Do you
Yeah.
think
Well, hang on real quick.
Okay.
Biscuit says sometimes he does it, the YouTube or synth or sound design. YouTube tends to keep him up.
right? Do you think we've augmented our minds and we've added distraction because now we have internet at our fingertips, we have televisions, we have video games. You think it was the same way, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, where people actually had like a decent sleep cycle, and we
I
weren't.
don't even think we have to go back hundreds of years. I think we only have to go back 30 years. Before the internet was a thing. I mean, yeah, before the internet, we had television. That was it. That was the only thing that we could sit and have this kind of multi-sensory experience without actually, getting out of our chairs and going out of our houses and homes. Whereas the internet now is so multifaceted. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I look at my screen now. I've got half a dozen things open on my screen, and I'll be looking like this. And during the work day, I'll have my computer and my work computer, and I'm skipping between the two. And I'm an email will come in from work, and then an email will come in from over here, and you've got all of these stimuli going on. And it's I don't think it's particularly healthy for a pleasant state of mind. And I think that as a society as a whole, certainly in the Western or developed world, that we are forcing ourselves or being forced by our our employers or even just our personal a lot of people are very driven to be successful because they see other people being super successful, so they want to be that successful too. So we set ourselves unrealistic objectives, unrealistic goals. And it's always nice to have goals, but you've got to be able to enjoy the life in between. I've got members of my family who have eschewed family and having children, and because they are laser focused on their career. My ex-wife was exactly that way. It was all about career. That's what she'd been brought up. Her father was a very successful businessman. He kind of drilled it into all his kids that the first and foremost thing was to be successful and to have money in the bank and a nice home and nice cars and all this. And she just would not. Everything had to be budgeted and accounted for, and there was no room for just like fuck it. There was no fuck it time. There was no
spur of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was no spontaneity or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we set ourselves very unrealistic goals, and those goals are also set for us, or certainly influenced
Groomed
by
to
Right.
set those on.
the corporate capitalist societies that we tend to live in these days. They groom us to feel that we've got to be part of the machine, and we all play a role, and if we don't pull our weight, then so yeah, it's
It's
I was
crazy.
watching the first episode of Severance, the second season of Severance, which is a fantastic critique of the where the sort of corporate world could go if we allowed it free reign. They would love us to be able to detach our work personas from our outside of work personas, so that they get 100% laser focus from
Right.
from their sheep. And I work in the corporate world. Thankfully, I work for a company who is never like that. I mean, I work from home. My head office is in Austin, Texas, and I sit here and work from home.
Back.
Very relaxed.
Yeah.
As long as I do the work,
Right.
they're happy, and I can get up as late as I want to get up, finish when I want to finish, but as long as I deliver the work, and I'm happy doing that. So work-life balance is very important to me, especially for the last 20 odd years, raising the last two of the three kids. It was very important.
Yeah, businesses have started doing a lot of work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to lose it in the chat, but Echo Craft said Alan Watts talks a lot about dreams and reality. I enjoy listening.
Yeah.
We listen to a lot of
Yeah.
Alan Watts too.
And he also says he said something else. I think just recently that
I'm going down.
it
Yeah.
gave me.
It's funny as a musician, I've always been someone who goes to bed at 2:00 in the morning, always been a night owl.
Okay, so that right there, I think we had this conversation, the three of us, off air, and it was, I don't know a musician who doesn't have sleep issues. Right. Literally.
But you can also tie that into you've trained your circadian rhythm to do that.
Yeah,
and
but
you've done it for all your life. It's so hard now at like our age, at Echo Craft's age, and people much older, you're going to have a hell of a time to try to change your circadian rhythm.
But it seems like it's more prevalent in artists, not just musicians, but
Well, I think it's more
you don't
prevalent.
think there's something there, or am I
No.
reaching too far?
I personally, I think you're reaching too far. I think you see it more in artists, in musicians. So let's narrow it down even more. In musicians, because you yourself are a musician and you deal with musicians on a day-to-day life. I'm sure if you go talk to an ER doctor, they'll tell you the same thing. It's prevalent in ER doctors. They can't go to sleep.
I would say it's probably prevalent in any profession.
And not even profession, in
Anything.
anybody.
Yeah. I don't think it's just narrowed down to a particular group.
Yeah.
I think it does go back to your circadian rhythm and how your life is led. If you look at back in the day, most musicians would go gig at what hours? 10 to 11. It's always the night hours. When the nightlife came out, you were up gigging all night, and you come back, you sleep, and you go what? You go back and you do it again.
Right.
So I think it's more so. But now we have, like we said, social media. We don't have to do that. Like we can gig in the confines of our own studio at whatever times we want. But it's just one of those things, and it just goes with the person.
Yeah.
You can't generalize it, but it just depends on that person's lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Biscuit said he doesn't own a TV.
You know,
Right.
and then you have that. I mean, really, you really don't need one if you have a computer or a cell phone. They do the same thing.
I mean, we have how many TVs in our house right now, and only 3 are used.
Yeah. Which is wild.
It's like, so why even have TVs
Why
in
even
the
have
rest
TVs?
in the rest
rarely
room?
use them. Cress has said TV used to stop, test card and shit music, then burp, breep. What the fuck are you
In the
talking
UK, television used to, all the stations would, stop broadcasting at generally midnight or around midnight.
Here in the States too.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't come back on until maybe
5. For
well,
here,
no.
for us was like 4 a.m.
I remember in the 70s it wouldn't be until like 9 o'clock in the
wow.
Oh
morning.
yeah, damn.
This was way before the concept of breakfast TV and 24-hour news cycles. Do you remember we used to get things like news flashes that would interrupt our programs because they wanted to? We don't have that anymore. We don't need that anymore because we'll get a ping on our mobile phone, or if we want to go and see the news, there's a 24-hour news channel. So we don't. There was this time when there was a definite 9 hour of nothing. You could turn your TV on and just get static, or as Cressy said, they have this thing called the test card,
Oh,
which
yeah.
was just a static picture with lots of colours and lines and shit. And it was. We have to take sort of personal responsibility when it comes to all of these stimuli that we've got coming at us. We could potentially sit in one place 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, have food brought to the door, and just
You can
sit
have
here and consume.
everything brought to the door.
Yeah.
Everything.
And you, exactly.
There was, oh my gosh, and I think this was like 5 years ago that I read this article, and I believe it was a gentleman in New York, and he set off. I think he was a writer, and he set off to do this task, and it was to live in his apartment for a year and never leave his apartment for anything. And I believe this, it might have been a little bit longer than 5 years ago, because it was right at the hype where we started getting all the delivery home services, deliver your groceries, medicine. You had the web doctors where you can schedule a doctor's appointment on.
Oh, telehealth.
Yeah, telehealth. Yep. So this guy set off.
Gracie.
Hey, Gracie.
Hi, Gracie.
Hello. Right.
So this guy set off to live in his apartment for a whole year and be able to do his day-to-day and daily tasks with never stepping 1 foot out of his apartment. That's including collecting his mail. So he had somebody else in the apartment building go collect his mail and bring it to him. And he achieved it. He lived in his apartment for a whole year and did everything out of his apartment.
You didn't even have to leave your home.
He didn't even have to leave his
That's
home.
bonkers to me.
I could actually, and my daughter would probably, because she's always having a go at me about it, but I could probably do that quite easily, because
Yeah.
I do. I spend my day working at this desk, and then I spend my evenings working at this desk doing other things. My wife goes out and does the shopping, or Amazon brings stuff here. I can go weeks without even going out of the house and getting into my car and just driving somewhere.
But
Right.
what are we creating there, Robbie? Like what type of society are we creating there? We're sheltering ourselves from other humans, essentially, and we're trying to create AI to replace jobs that humans are doing now.
Well,
Oh, that's
to
gonna
go back to
happen.
to go back to the point that was being discussed when I sort of dropped in about COVID. When lockdown hit, which was nearly 5 years ago, wasn't it? My life did not change.
Right.
I literally, I wasn't furloughed because I was working from home, so that my job was still doable. and not going out for lengthy periods of time was quite the norm. So it really, honestly, lockdown for me was a mild inconvenience because I actually remember the early part of the first lockdown here. A DX7 Mark II came up on eBay, and it was a really good price. It was in really good condition. And I said to the guy, "Don't ship it. I will come and collect it." And then he had to remind me. He said, "Yeah, but you're not allowed to drive anywhere." And I was like, "Yeah, but if I just nip down, because it was up north somewhere near Sheffield somewhere." And he said, "Oh, well, no, I've heard stories of the police at motorway exits, picking up people asking, and if they find that you've come all the way from East Anglia, and you'll get slapped with a big old fine." So, but it was just it didn't sort of really occur to me because nothing had changed for me. I was always at home anyway, working from home, so it was a bit weird in that respect. But everything else was pretty much the norm.
What about you, Gracie? Have you found ways to balance your distractions, or have you even identified
If you have
any? Are they still like obscure to you?
I was thinking about it. It's a big old loop, isn't it? This is a distraction from what I wanted to do this evening, which is make music, which is a distraction from cleaning my apartment because it's filthy. Blah blah blah. It just goes round and round and round for me. But it's all a distraction from itself. But that's life. I like it. I like veering around.
Yeah.
So would you say you found balance? Like, tell me what Gracie does when your mind doesn't shut off. Like, what's the one thing you would go to say, okay, right, I had enough of this. I'm done focusing on this. How do you take yourself out of that?
I guess I've got a few different interests in life, so it's good to have multiple strands to one's life and not be too consumed by one thing or another.
Balance.
My balance, a good balance thing for me, because as you know, I travel with work and I go all over the place. And my experience of lockdown was quite different to what's been discussed, but it was rare to be staying put and being told to not go anywhere for a while. And but from the craziness of traveling the world, I grow vegetables in a vegetable garden, and the balance there is immense. And my work is all about tonight and about tomorrow, and you work very much for an immediate result. Whereas, of course, if you're going to grow vegetables, you're thinking 90 days ahead. And what you do now only becomes relevant in 3 months' time or 6 months' time. And that's one of the reasons I enjoy that so much, because it does indeed balance out the sort of the way I earn a living. So, yeah, I don't know. They're quite different things, making music for the love of it, mixing bands for the money, and growing vegetables and
For the
hanging out with
peace.
friends like this.
For the peace,
For the
yeah.
peace, it's good to have different things going on in life, isn't it?
And Gracie comes here for the chaos of S.O.R.
There you go.
I come to cause chaos mostly.
And that's why we love you, Gracie. Speaking of which, Crazy Rabbit wants to know, since he can't have sugar, can he have a spoonful of garlic?
Yeah. That's right. Brooksy steals my garlic. He takes most of it. He's got more of it.
Biscuit said something interesting earlier in the chat. I don't know if I can find it, but he said that TV, let's see, what do you say?
I haven't got a TV. That's one point I want to say.
Oh, really? Nice. Okay, so
there is a
you
TV in the corner, but it's behind a whole pile of equipment, and it's not tuned into anything, and it's not wired up to anything, and
nice.
it never gets switched on.
Biscuit said the government uses TV to program you, and I believe that wholeheartedly. Like before social media and everything.
Is that why you started the cult then?
Yes. Duh.
Welcome.
And look, Gracie, you joined us.
Oh, is it? I'm an early member.
But I mean, I agree with them, but I'm 50-50 with it. So when I watch TV, I'm watching things that are educational, like National Geographics and
Bye, Echo. Thanks for sticking around.
Thanks, Echo.
Bye, Echo.
And Animal Planet, and just
But
things
you
that you
consciously make that effort, right, to balance it out. A lot of
Right.
people don't do that, you know?
But if I had no control over my mental wherewithal, I would say 100%. If you're into TV like that, you're definitely going to be controlled one way or another.
Biscuit said now they use S.O.R to program us.
I am no
Look at
way, shape, or form
Grace.
employed by the government
I'll
to
find my pocket watch.
manipulate your minds.
Yeah, keep telling
I
him
bet-
that. Keep
I
telling
bet-
him that, Lamar.
Yeah, for real. Wink, wink. I bet back in the day, I know we've come technical logic. Somebody help me.
What do you-
Technologically
Technologically.
advanced.
Technologically,
Yeah.
We're like, wait, I didn't even know what you're trying to say.
I remember when.
Logico-technically.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember when the pager, the pager, the beeper, Motorola came out, and you put it on your hip, and you were expecting someone to beep you. I remember that being
You were either
distraction.
a badass, or either you were important,
Right.
you thought you were a badass, or you were a drug dealer.
Right. And the only one that was beeping me
System.
was my mother,
Yeah,
and no one else.
right.
But I like to compare that back to the days when Gracie said about growing vegetables. Like what would Robbie say, 30 years ago even?
Mm-hmm.
I would say, like maybe 80, 90 years ago, hell, 100, people's concerns were like farmers. Their distractions were, shit, am I going to get this crop out in time before the rain?
Yeah.
What am I looking at if it doesn't rain this year or that year? Then what's my harvest going to look like? And
Yeah.
I'm sure we had these like normal precursor stressors. I just
In a different form,
in a
is what you
different
mean?
form.
Yeah.
But the thing I want to know, what I really want to know is how much is it worse since then, to now that we have technology? Has it doubled? Has our stressors
Man,
doubled?
I think that's a matter of perception, right?
We also
Because
have this
it,
thing, and Gracie and Steve, and I say this with all due respect, they are of an age like I am, who will remember a time certainly in this country when nothing was open on a Sunday.
Yep.
Okay, yes, it was kind of derived from the fact that Sunday is the Christian day of worship, and so therefore that's kind of how it came about, and it was like that for decades, if not centuries. But we also had things like half-day closing for retail.
Wednesdays, yeah.
Wednesdays, or some
Thursday
places it
round,
was
well,
but one day a week, all the shops would close at lunchtime.
Yeah, but that was so that they could go to work on a Saturday morning, because shop workers all had to go to work on a Saturday morning.
But-
and shops shut on Saturday afternoon.
But it was actually this Sundays. It was just nobody questioned it for such a long time. Nobody questioned the fact that on Sunday everything stopped. The TV channels were just very gentle programming. It wasn't there weren't game shows or anything like that. Maybe
yeah.
it was all very kind of countrified, and then you maybe had a game show in the late afternoon when everybody's just had their dinner and sat down. It was almost like a Christmas Day vibe, every week, one day a week, every week, and then maybe a half day as well. And there was a time that you could decompress, where you could meet up with friends and family because you knew that you were all not working on that day. So you could say, just like again at Christmas, you could say, let's all get together and let's go around somebody's for dinner, and we'll spend the day at the grandparents or the uncles or the aunts or whatever. And progressively we've become a society that have demanded more convenience, more access, and that's been driven by technology. It's been driven by the corporate world wanting more and more from
And consumers too, right?
and
Wanting more and more.
consuming. And
So-
we've given up all those lovely things that would just that would just make sure that everyone took a moment to just chill, disconnect from whatever it was that they were connected to, and just chill for a day. And
driven by
we've
greed,
kind of lost that, and
Biscuit.
it's a real shame.
Well, like Biscuit said, it's all driven by greed, and I believe that because when I was younger, my parents owned a grocery store family-owned grocery store in California. And in the 80s, it was, we opened up at 9, closed by 9:10, and we're always closed on Sundays, like in the UK. And it was our day to rest and have family time. We have barbecues if they're permitted, which in California was always. And it was nice. There was a balance, but then the demand of consumption came, right? And people were like, well, no, I do this and that. So my only day is Sunday and you need to be open. And so my dad kept hearing that over and over and over. So what did my dad do? He had to open up on Sundays. And all that family time and everything
Out the window.
went to shit.
Yeah,
Why?
when you're forced
Because
to meet the
consumption.
demand, like,
Yep.
you got to meet. You know who's
Yeah.
fighting? You know who's fighting that here in the U.S. very well, and it's for religious purposes, which I love that they're doing it. It's Chick-fil-A. They deliberately close down on Sundays,
Right.
And the people, because they love the restaurant so much, they can't respect it, and now they're trying
Criticizing.
to
Yeah.
force them to open up on a
But
Sunday.
Chick-fil-A does it for
Oh,
religion.
how funny. Uncle
Right.
Chrome just mentioned Chick-fil-A.
but-
Said Chick-fil-A restaurants close on Sundays to allow religious observant, for fuck's
Exactly my
sakes,
point.
hire Jews and Muslims. See, and there you go. But
Yep.
then
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
that consumption, that demand.
Consuming.
Like, and then the people feel like they have to do it.
What were you going to say, Gracie?
Many things. I was going to say, my late father was a clergyman. Those Sundays were a very busy working day in my household as a kid. And he took Tuesdays off. Saturdays were always getting ready for work, church stuff. And bizarrely, I've grown up in a world like that as a child, but my working world now, similarly, I'm more likely to be working when most people are having a weekend off or a public holiday. They're the times they want to go and see a show. So I'm much more likely to be at work when most people are having a bit of downtime. And I tend to have unusual days off rather than the obvious ones.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
I
I
think-
grew up in a restaurant, and my dad.
Yeah, so you would
being
never
Italian.
yeah.
No, but my dad being Italian would never open on a Sunday. Not
Yeah.
because it was a religious thing, which it
It's
was,
just cultural,
but not for
but-
him. It was a cultural thing.
Yeah.
And he never, ever, till he retired, never opened on a Sunday.
Good for
much,
him.
Yeah.
much to, he lost lots of business, but he said, I don't care. I
Yep.
want this day for myself and my
Yeah.
family. And that was always
And I think as a kid, I think that's why I loved going back and visiting Costa Rica with my grandmother and family and stuff like that, especially during the summer breaks, winter breaks for us in California, because you can see the culture, the family aspect in Costa Rica. During the holidays, beginning in November, every store would close down by like 3. And every evening starting at 6, the streets were closed down and you would have parades. And everybody would come down and just celebrate. It was a party from like 6 until midnight, partying. And that went through for like 2 months. And it was amazing because you really had that family
Community. Right.
and every Sunday in your neighborhood, you went to a different household for dinner.
And learn something about somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But even still on the continent, I go back home to Italy, and it takes me a little while to get back used to it. But at 1:00 every day, everything shuts. The streets are deserted. Everybody goes and has a kip, a little bit of sleep, or they'll have some lunch, or they'll just relax. And the shops don't open till 3:30 again. And then they'll stay open a little later than what they do, say, here in the UK. So they might stay open till sort of 7:00. But there's always this big chunk of time in the middle of every day where everything shuts, and the only people who are on the streets are the tourists who, what the hell's
And
going on?
what happened? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just the way it is. But I was reading an article the other day, and it came back up on my feed. Apparently, back in the medieval times, we had a routine called 2 sleeps, and human beings worked in 2 shifts, and you would sleep during the day. You would sleep, everybody would get into beds and sleep for big chunks of time during the day, but then get up late at night and do whatever they were doing. And then so there was everyone slept twice a day.
Oh, that's crazy.
But it's bonkers.
Can you imagine if we did that now?
But I
quite
wonder
easily. I
if
can imagine.
people took shifts.
I mean, but I wonder if that's not how it was supposed to be in many ways, though. Like, what if we were supposed to break our sleep pattern up?
Oh, evolution, right? Everything changes in evolution.
China does it. China, they get 30,
they have sleep,
30-minute...
They have sleep bars.
Yeah. Or no, when they're actually in their corporate offices, they get 30-minute breaks.
Yeah.
Or they call them nap breaks or recycle breaks or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're like mandatory.
But they also have sleep bars. I forget which YouTube we were watching.
I know. I
But
think it was in Japan, too.
Yeah, you can go into these little shops and they have like these little eggs, these
You
little
rent them out for
domes.
30 minutes.
The
Yeah.
little pods or whatever.
Yeah. And you can so technically you can only rent them out for 30 minutes. I think 30 minutes is the max. Minimum is 15.
Yeah.
Because something about your brain, like you have to have at least 15
much-
minutes,
yeah.
but no more than 30 because it actually makes you more tired than,
Yeah.
we need those
I mean,
here.
we are such a 24-hour society now.
Yeah.
Even though we don't all stay up for 24 hours, the world is still operating at every single minute of the day, whether it's late at night or very early hours of the morning. It used to be it was just the milkman who would be up at stupid o'clock doing his rounds, delivery. We don't have milkmen anymore because, like you say, we buy giant cartons of the stuff and stick them in our fridges.
So now it seems like it's a population thing. Like the population is so big now, we have to be a 24-hour society.
It always goes back to that supply and demand.
Yeah, but I also
Right?
think that with technological advances and with cultural changes and differences, and the fact that we now see what other cultures do, and we adopt some of those things, and they do things differently, and we do things differently, and the West has adopted things from the East, and the East has adopted things from the West, and eventually we just get this kind of big amalgam of all of these cultures. And isn't it cool that we can, at stupid o'clock at night, go out and get a meal somewhere, or go and watch a film, or do something. Whether it's
Or
out
talk to
or at
someone
home.
on the other side of the world.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Like here.
Yeah. Which at this point, I'm going to leave you because I don't want Kent to be on his own. I feel kind of responsible for him. But I will.
You got to go take care of him, huh?
I've got to keep an eye. Keep the dogs in line. But I will see you tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Looking
Don't
forward
forget,
to that,
come
Robbie.
tomorrow.
My alarm
Robbie
is
is
set.
being interviewed at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Boy, do we have some questions for him.
Get your juicy questions ready. Thanks, Robbie, for stopping by.
Yeah.
See you, Robbie.
No problem. Have a good one.
Catch you
You
later.
too.
Bye.
So Kashikai said Japan. That sounds more like it. Yeah, so it's Japan that have the
The,
sleep.
the naps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were watching this limited series on Netflix. We just finished it yesterday. It was called American Primal. What was it called, Ben? American.
American.
Primeval.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Did you watch it, Steve?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
in
great.
the flash.
It's, yeah, it's
Highly
directed
recommended.
by Peter Berg. Very gruesome.
Yeah, he's in like the first episode, like half of the first episode.
A lot of death and a lot of destruction and chaos.
But
And you think that's the sort of thing I like? Yeah.
no. You'll like it because of the history aspect of it.
The
Yeah, because
history-
deep down,
'Cause
Steve,
they-
you're a goddamn carnivorous animal. That we,
Keep the history aspect of it. But going back to like what Lamar and people were saying in the chat is the differences from then and now.
Yeah.
Like to see what they were doing back then to get meat and water and
just to live.
just
Yep.
to live and
Yeah.
how they
Full-time
lived.
job.
Full-time job.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
what happens if you get a cut or you get a broken something? It wasn't as easily to go to the ER and get it fixed. You probably had to amputate that if it got an infection. So are we worse then or better off? In a way, we're better off. And in a way, we're worse.
but I bet if you brought
In what way are we worse off? Tell me.
We're worse off because we've lost our sense of family.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
We've lost our sense of being
hands in the soil.
Yes, of
Hunter-gatherer.
Yeah, just stopping and taking a moment to observe everything and taking it in and taking appreciation.
And I think
of
everyone
that.
was a botanist at one point.
That's a choice,
Yeah.
isn't it? That's a choice.
But is it? But
that.
is it though?
Well,
But is
I can
it?
choose to leave you now and go across the road and enjoy the sea if I really want to. It's my choice. So
Yeah.
You're saying as if it was, we can't get our hands in the soil. Look at Grace doing the allotment thing. It's you choose to do what you do. It's available. It's just that we choose not to do it.
Because the other option is so easier to go to.
Right.
I would say it's
laziness.
It's available to some, but not most. Because for here in the States, most live in the metropolis, right? Even if they had the choice, they would have to have some land to where they want to put their hands in the soil.
Acquire the knowledge. Someone to teach them.
And then have enough of the land to where they want to do it, to where it'd be feasible for them to do it full time. Versus the guy that lives out in the country, it'd be his choice to go in the backyard and plant and do stuff. But the countryside is so sparse and fanned out.
It's 1%.
I think, you're right, Steve, as it's a choice, because you still have the choice to go to a farmer and say, I just want to help you do this or whatever, right? But I think we've lost the way because 200-300 years ago, that was our way of life. We're humans. We hunter-gatherers. We had our hands in the soil. We built things with our hands. We were so much tied into life than we are now. Hence your whole distraction.
Yeah,
thing.
and I think the evolution of man has made us way lazier.
Yeah. Oh, well, totally. I understand completely where you're going, but you've got to also look at the advantages we have got now.
Oh, yeah,
we have
definitely.
got 24/7 healthcare. Well, we have it in the UK. We've got the National Health Service, and if someone hurts themselves, they can off themselves to the local A&E.
Yeah.
And hopefully be sorted out in a reasonable amount of time. He says.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. We have the positives from that.
We've got access to the internet. We've got untold amounts of education. If you want to go and find it, it's all out there and so on. So I think it really and truly it does balance out, but there's still that choice. And I know what you're saying, Lamar. That some people probably do feel quite restricted, but if you need it that much, you're going to find a way to do it.
Yeah, you can start with a pot and do potting soil. I often think, what do you guys think if someone that was, let's say, around 150 years ago, right, just by miracle survived? Do you think they would look at where we are today and be like, oh, I wish this is the way I lived. Look, I don't have to die of an infection. I can get milk in a refrigerator readily available right now.
I think in given enough time to understand what they're confronted with, they would love it because it is a lot easier in the day-to-day thing. You're all this stuff you're touching on a thing called Maslow's hierarchy of need. I don't know if you know that idea.
No,
it's quite a straightforward idea, which is worth reading up on. But basically, it's kind of a pyramid. So when your basic needs for survival are met, you start to focus on the next level above, which is comfort or staying warm. So once you're warm and you're dry and you're comfortable and you've got food, you go up the next, and technology runs you up that hierarchy more quickly, doesn't it? So someone coming from the distant past being dropped into our world, if they could be given the time to understand the things which make life easier, they would adapt to it very quickly and like it. So they'd go, oh, great, I don't have to go and sweat and toil and labor over it, because it was very, very hard work surviving in those days.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We expend energy for fun. The idea of a gym, and it's
Oh
it's
yeah.
like
Can you
people
imagine?
do that for it's a form of recreation.
Right.
Yeah, and
It's
back
not
then,
a form of need.
necessity.
It kind of hints how we got here, right, Gracie? It kind of hints like how society has modernized itself, because they were saying, this is fucking hard work driving an oxen to plow land, And our brilliant minds go, oh, the
How
steam
can we
engine.
find it easier?
Oh, the
Yeah.
tractor.
Get a horse to pull it.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Then we evolve into the tractor. Oh, and then we can
Yeah.
do this. And
Yeah, it's all about evolution and making things better and
it'll be off topic. It'll be off topic. I don't want to cut you off, Steve, but it'll be off topic for me to say. This goes back to one of my theories that humans are so, I think, randomly placed on Earth because everything else through evolution has evolved to where they are still currently. The dolphins, the sharks, the monkeys, the fish. And we're the ones that's progressing the wheel as we're not content with our natural state. We keep progressing the wheel. We get smarter and smarter, and we're living outside of what
we're not
what
the
we
only ones
perceive
to evolve, though, are we?
as nature, right?
What'd
We're the ones going to get jackets instead of growing fur. We're the ones going to get our food and processing it instead of hunting it like other species on the planet.
What'd you say, Cressy?
We're not the only ones who evolve.
Right.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, but look how we evolved. As
But I mean,
humans.
animals involved too.
Right.
We're not like Cressy said, we're not the
Everything
only ones that have evolved.
I'm not
Animals have
saying
evolved
I'm not
too.
saying that they're not. I'm just saying look how we as humans evolve. Dolphins don't go around wearing sweaters and socks. They haven't evolved to wear sweaters
Well,
and
but
socks.
they don't need to though. You
But that's what I'm.
evolve.
But that's my point. If we're human nature to the evolution of it, we would grow these things like grow the extra fur, have the extra padding on your soles of your feet, and come up with better ways of hunting.
But okay, so you evolve out of necessity, right? So dolphins don't need sweaters and stuff like that because they're in the water. There's no necessity for that. And then we, going back on evolving for necessity, if you don't need to evolve for it because you're given shoes, you're given sweaters, you're given all of this, then you're going to stop evolving. A perfect example, look at the horse. The horse in the wild takes care of their feet.
But the horse evolved though from a platypus.
Okay, hold on. Let me finish.
Horse doesn't walk on its feet though, does it?
Yeah. So
It does.
horses
No, it walks on its toe.
they're technically hoofs. So
Yeah,
horses
toe.
in the wild don't need somebody to take care of their feet. Don't need somebody to blanket it. Don't need somebody to do their teeth. They don't need somebody to find them water in the wild. But once you take that away from them,
And domesticate
the
it.
necessity
Yeah.
of the necessity of them to for evolution, then they stop.
But to speak to
Right.
Cressy's point, the horse had
Just gonna be back
three
where you
toes.
were.
toes.
Hang on. The horse had 3 toes per leg in its earlier life.
Yes.
Now it has 1 toe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so it's evolved.
Because
So it's
evolution.
evolved. Right.
So you evolve out of necessity. As humans, I believe we don't need to evolve anymore because we have all everything being handed to us.
And I'm sure they said that in the Cretaceous period or
and
the
if-
caveman period.
And if we need it, then somebody's gonna
Humans are
probably-
evolving. Just look how fat people are these days. That's
Yeah.
that's
I was
evolution.
going to say, I think we're still
Evolution.
evolving. We're just doing it very
Yep.
slowly.
Right. Look
I
at
think-
autism.
Evolution is very slow. It's just because
Yeah.
can't see it
Doesn't
doesn't mean it ain't
require-
happening.
Yeah.
So Uncle Chrome said a comment. He said, "Don't wild horses get injuries? Absolutely. You know what happens to the wild horses? They become food for another animal.
Yeah, if it's severe enough, it's natural selection.
Yeah, it's
But-
circle of life.
When I look at my son and his
We have that
autism,
TikTokers. Instagram models who get high on drugs and drive people down.
yeah. When I look at my autistic son, I ask myself, I said, "Oh, is this human evolution right in
Right,
front of our
yeah.
very eyes?"
Hmm. And you've said that for many years.
For many years.
And then we saw that documentary, and it was.
Hmm.
I hope people in the Discord, if you're in our Discord, I hope you saw that 2-hour.
The tape.
Yeah.
Is it called the tape?
No, something tape.
Yeah.
What was it?
I don't know. It's in our Discord.
Telepathy tapes.
Telepathy.
Telepathy tape.
Yeah.
It was an amazing.
It's based on these kids that have Asperger's and severe autism, and
Just different levels of
just different
on
levels,
the
and
spectrum.
they can't control their body function, and they can't speak. And it's I don't want to spoil the beans.
You
but
gotta go see it.
You gotta watch it.
Yeah.
But I-
Steve, if you can link it in our chat, we posted
see
it
if I
in
can
the
find it.
Discord in general.
What's the conclude? What not conclusion? What's the goal of this conversation? Where are we trying to head to?
No goal,
Nowhere.
but just to have a
pondering.
conversation.
Yeah, just pondering minds want to know.
Yeah.
I often when I ponder, I don't look for a goal. I don't look for an answer. I just find comfort in just thinking about
Just
said
exploring
things,
it in
just
the
to
mind.
explore
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
See what other people think about it.
Yeah, and all the different opinions everybody has.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would make a couple of perhaps slightly semantic points here, but it's important to pick them out. To
Yeah.
not confuse technological progress
Mhm.
and societal progress with evolution within mankind,
Mhm.
because evolution is very much a genetic and generational and essentially biological process which takes many, many generations to move through. And whereas we're talking a lot here about life changes which are enabled through societal movement and through technological progress, and it can feel like evolution, but it's not. Evolution is very much, our cells and our bodies changing and adapting to the world we live in, and it's a very different time frame to the way science takes us. And I think some of the things that you've touched on are about technological pace being far, 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 far faster than anything that evolutionary
Right.
wise we can keep
Evolution
up with.
is glacial. It takes hundreds of thousands of years.
Yes.
I mean, I
Twenty.
could give you a great personal example. I have an allergy to gluten, so wheat and barley and rye, and I've had this allergy all my life. And I was diagnosed 50 years ago, and at that time, most people had no idea what gluten was, including me or my mum, and it was an alien thought. Gluten-free food. What is this? I mean, nowadays you can go to the store down the road and find stuff which says gluten-free on the packet, and that's not evolutionary. But I have a feeling, this is just a theory, that the Western world and some countries more than others eat an awful lot of wheat, and it's processed wheat and scientifically kind of enhanced to yield better bread or nicer pasta or whatever you want to think about, or cheaper. And it's not genetically engineered, but it's certainly been enhanced in scientific ways. And my body and many other people's bodies can't keep up with that change. And I think the allergy is enhanced and more widely known because of that kind of change. And it's like humans not keeping up with science and so-called progress. Go on,
Grace, let me ask you this. Well, humans have been around for a long time. Neanderthal.
Yeah.
Religion says 5,000 years, Adam and Eve, whatever. However you want to split it. But we've been around for a long time. And do you think at some point, and let me finish this out. Do you think at some point humans induce our own evolution? Because I say this because we were Neanderthals. Okay, we've progressed from that, and we've made huts. We've hunter-gatherers, and we were living off the land. We were wearing sheep's clothing and stuff like that to keep warm. So, in the evolutionary state of mind, in progression with everything else on this planet, we could have stopped there and said, "Okay, we've evolved. Now the only thing that may happen is maybe our tools get a little sharpener." Why do you think, let me just finish. Why do you think we are inducing, or is it possible that we're inducing our evolution? Because it seems like for humanity, it's never enough, right? We evolved to the hut, the house, the building, the AI, the computer chip, the integration, the medicine, and we just keep going and keep going off the planet, rockets, this and this. Do you think we're inducing our evolution faster than what it's supposed to be naturally? Because the way humans think are opposable thumbs.
That's it. Neanderthals were around when humans were around. They're an offshoot. They're a separate branch.
Okay, but
So,
they still
you
kind of
can't
evolved
say we
into
came
every.
from Neanderthals because we didn't come from Neanderthals. They're a separate branch.
Okay, so the Neanderthals died out, and then the humans came.
No. They got wiped out. We wiped them out.
Okay, so we wiped them out, but it still goes back to my point. If
We were competing with them. We were in the same. We lived in the same areas in southern France and places like that, and we were both competing for resources, and we were better at killing them than they were of us.
Okay,
So,
even with that, Cressy, how come you think that wasn't good enough? That we took them over, okay, as you say, and then how come evolution hasn't stopped? Then we were content, like what Meryl said, we had everything we needed. So now why are we snowballing and constantly growing? So at a miraculous rate, and it really picked up 130 years ago.
But that's not biologically, that's technology.
I think,
yeah.
But it takes the human mind to grow, right? Because we didn't come up with light.
Some places on the
2,000
earth,
years ago.
some civilizations never got around to inventing the wheel, but
Right.
other places did. So that's not evolution. Just some people just stumble over the idea of if this square thing that I've got around the corners of it rolls. Oh, what am I going to call it? I'll call it a wheel. Other people in other places never got to think that. So if they wanted to move anything, you have to get a whole load of people to drag it. That's how they move stuff. They didn't invent the wheel. Then we invent other things,
So you guys still think we're still those primitive people? It's just that our brains are getting smarter.
We're just it's knowledge. We have a accumulation of knowledge. You can look back thousands of years and we can read stuff from the Aztecs or from Egypt or or Greece, something like that. They weren't stupid back then. There's quite a lot of people still look back on what people wrote in Greece as the de facto way to think about things.
Right.
So they weren't stupid back then, and we got a bit better. They were intelligent back then. They just didn't have electricity back then.
So is our smarts evolving? I mean, that's
hang on,
kind of the thing.
slow down. What were you going to say, Grace?
I think, and I know Biscuits nailed this in the chat. I think assuming we all subscribe to the idea that evolution is a thing, right? That's a philosophical question, but put that to the side. We're all saying we all evolve. We cannot choose whether we evolve or not. We cannot choose to stop evolving. Right. It just happens. It's part of being alive. It's a part of life on this planet. Everything is evolving at some point because it's to do with cellular reproduction. It's not something that we can stop or enhance or speed up. It just is. It's embedded in the nature of what we consider time, perhaps, and there's nothing we can do about that. And we only evolve spiritually, psychologically, emotionally in our lifetimes, but that's really kind of just becoming more aware or more mature or more emancipated in different ways. It's not genetic or physical evolution, is it? You don't grow an extra leg or something because you want to walk further. It's not. That takes many years. And so what we can do with our rather big brains is learn to improve our lot in life, and whether it's working up through the Maslow hierarchy or inventing AI or learning how to make $1 million, these are subjective things, aren't they? And these are things that one goes, I like that, and pursuing that. We are in the Western world so blessed to be able to essentially choose what we want to do with our lives.
Right.
That's not something that has been around that long in any.
But in the same case, we're not that special now, because if you go back hundreds or thousands of years, you had people didn't need to know everything hundreds or thousands of years ago. You had people who specialized in things. You had people who would make armor, or you had people who were good at doing stonemasonry, or you had people who were good at cooking things. So we're not doing this. We're not sort of like one day an ape and the next thing we're some sort of supreme thing that knows everything, because we don't need to know everything. We haven't needed to know everything for thousands of years. So one of the great inventions was the idea of writing stuff down, language, so that you could historically, because before that, if you learned something, the only way to retain it would be the elders who've learned it during their life would be to share it to the younger people.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they don't forget it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get a more than a language, when you get a written language or even a graphical language, when you can explain things graphically or literally, then your intelligence can expand, because you're not limited of that intelligence just by the years you are on the earth. You can use other people who came before you, and you sort of leapfrog your way through life. Yeah. So the next generation learns a little bit more, but they also learn from the past. Yeah. And then you go a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and here we are.
I agree with you all on everything that you say. I'm just posing these questions. So given that we established that, let's just say one fatal wind comes, knocks out our grid, all of our technology, and we're back to the Stone Ages. We have no more power. Every solar flare hits. How long do you give it before we tap back into our old primal selves?
10% of us will survive.
I've got
Depends how long we get knocked out for, doesn't it? How long a solar flare does it?
Do you know about the project? I think it's in Iceland, to archive the whole of human knowledge.
Yes.
So, if that actually happens, we have
There's
got
a seed bank
resource.
as well, haven't they?
Yeah, we can go and look at and say, oh, that's how you do quantum physics. Okay, we'll start doing that or whatever.
But I mean, wholeheartedly, regardless of like how long the solar flare knocks things out,
Well,
give
the
it
last
a week.
one we had knocked us out for a couple of weeks, I think. It was in the 1870s, wasn't it? When the telegraph poles caught fire in America. And that affected you lot more than other people. It also, a solar flare, by its own design, is directional. But the Earth is round. It's a sphere, isn't it? So you might get hit, but the rest of the world's fucking fine.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Marilyn's question, it's a very simple answer. You said, when will we go back to, I can't remember what you said now, but I know what you mean.
Back
When
to
will we
basics.
go back to being
Oh,
animals?
Lamar's
Yeah,
question.
yeah. How long do you give it?
Until we run out of food. It's as simple as that, because once people are hungry, they'll do anything to eat.
Oh, yeah.
But then at that point in time, like, how many people will
Know how to
survive? And I predict 10% of us will survive.
Not even 10%, I don't think.
I think the
don't think
1%.
I'd be very good at it for a start. But, I think there'd be very few people that have watched enough Bear Grylls to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Would you
got
want
a
to
lot on
survive?
that,
That's the question, is it? Would you want to be in that 10% or not?
Someone asked me that if a nuclear war broke out, would you want the bomb to land on you, or would you rather be in the fallout? And I would want the bomb to land on me. I don't want to live in fallout.
Yeah, because my brother and I. Okay,
Well, real quick,
Okay, go
before
ahead,
we
go
go
ahead.
off, because this is a whole
That's a whole different area.
topic.
Right.
And Engin says we wouldn't evolve all the time. We make certain choices. So, like Gracie said, there's a difference between the evolution of the body and the evolution of technology. So, which one are you speaking of on this one? Like, I think it's maybe the technology aspect of it. We wouldn't evolve if we don't make certain choices. And that's true. I mean, we wouldn't evolve on certain things if someone didn't create the internet.
Do you think we used to live in a better world?
That's all perception.
So,
What's your perception of that?
Yeah.
Do you think we were better off?
And like
10
I
years ago?
said before, it's perception. Because if you would ask somebody back then if they were happy, they would say, no, I'm happy. If you asked somebody back then who was unhappy, they would say, no, I'm unhappy. We need to do something different. Right. So it's a matter of perception. And like how Steve said, now we have the ability of 24-hour medical care.
Right.
In some states, you have insurance given to you. Maybe not in other states or in other countries, but in other countries, you have something that another one doesn't. So I think it's a matter of perception.
So what was the question again, Chris?
Do you think you were better off previously than you are now? And if so, when?
I think just before just before or around the Cold War or the Cold War
More.
started. You know, I think things were
Cold was like 50s, isn't it? 50s
I was
to
going to say the 50s. Yeah.
50s,
50s till 89.
Wait, when was the Iron Curtain? Yeah.
89 came down, wasn't it? Was it
Yeah.
89 or 86? I can't remember. Something like that.
Yeah, I think just
In the
around the
80s.
end or somewhere before the end of the Cold War. I think it was the, you know, it was a place of balance, and it was a place of it was a place of movement. It was a place of music becoming something bigger and bringing people together. But I mean, it was also a place of where technology was getting ready to explode.
Yeah, impending doom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
That would be a hard question for me to answer because I didn't experience it.
I know.
You know,
I read about it.
why wouldn't
All these
I
young
wouldn't
people,
know.
eh?
I
I
know.
don't know.
I
Terrible.
wouldn't know.
God.
Simon
I
said
remember the
McDonald's
internet
will
without
be.
adverts.
Yeah. Simon said McDonald's will be will soon open up everywhere
Awesome.
except Virginia.
Yeah.
There's a is it Virginia, babe? That I was telling you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
Oh no, it was Delaware or somewhere.
no, not Delaware. No, it started with the V.
Oh, it might have been Virginia.
Yeah.
You mean no Studio B in one of your states?
No.
No.
So
I'm
there
going to
is
mark that off.
there is a state. I'll look it up. But there's a state that I would love to go retire to because they focus on family and tradition and.
Why don't you do that now? What are you waiting for?
Oh, we do.
Oh, yeah.
We do
we
100%.
But my point is that in that state they do not allow, and they don't have it at all. They don't have any.
What's the people that live in America that ride around with horses and carts and don't do
Oh,
that?
the Amish.
the Amish.
The
The
Amish.
Amish, yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you
Yeah,
have
they
the
have-
What do you
Mennonites,
think their
40
way of living in your land?
They
Well,
have
we
them
s-
here.
I see
But
how
hold
they
on, let me
live, too.
finish.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this state doesn't have and will not allow, and people have fought. Well, the industry has fought to get in here, and they deny them every single time. They don't have any Starbucks, any McDonald's, any Burger King, any chain-related food. Here we go, fast consumption in
Do they
this
have Amazon
state.
delivery?
I don't know. But they don't allow any of that. If you want your super fast fix from a chain Starbucks, you have to go to the next.
County over.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they only have mom and pop
Businesses.
businesses. Support your family businesses. You want
Local
a coffee?
farmers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go to the mom and pop.
So it's
Little
quite
place.
expensive to live there then.
No,
sounds
it's actually not. It's actually very inexpensive to live in that state.
Okay. Is it got a lot of people there? A lot of people going there?
I don't know the population of it.
Yeah.
It ain't going to be your New York
I know
City.
it's
Yeah.
not your New York City, and it's mainly retirees.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yep.
They're already
Simon said,
collected.
I want to live there.
Yeah, I want to live there too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Can
hustle
I
and
just chuck
bustle.
a point at you? I'll feel quite strongly about this. I just wanted to say I truly believe that things are getting better. I know you say about evolution and would it be better if you were back then, but if you look at how life was, I'm going to say in the 80s, just for give it a point, and how life is now, generally it's better. And I say generally because obviously some things aren't. And there are things around the world which aren't particularly great at the moment. However, if you look at it, generally, the access we've got to medical care and food and all the rest of it, technology, is much, much better than it ever was in the 80s. And things are getting better.
Yeah.
And I have to live my life thinking that, because if I thought it was getting worse, it would be, well,
Yeah.
you know, is there
It'd be
any point in
pointless.
carrying on?
Yeah, you're right.
Right. I think it's getting better, but let me ask this question, and I want Gracie to answer this first. Is it possible for humankind to stunt their biological evolution, as you would say?
Evolution.
Evolution. What do you mean? Using the use of science messes us up so bad that our evolution stops? Is that what
Yeah,
you
we
mean?
just depend heavily
I don't
more
think
on
it would
technology.
stop. I think it might take a left turn, which might not be for the betterment of humanity. Cressy touched on it, talking about obesity at the beginning of when he joined. It's quite possible that a lot of illnesses and afflictions that surround particularly the Western world are in partly induced through poor science. Who knows? We will not be there to see this. We will all be long in our under the ground. But who knows? If there's a moral imperative, it's to think about future generations when you're coming up with scientific development, isn't there? But I mean, I don't. That's the grey area that science is. You do not know the ramifications of your discovery, and just think about Einstein and the bomb and all that kind of thing, and you don't know, do you?
And we live in an interesting time.
We can't stop evolution. I mean, we would disappear as a species, wouldn't we? There'd be no further need for humanity, because nature is a bigger machine than just people. Other creatures would evolve to take our place. Yep. Surely, that's how it works.
The spiders.
The thing that I noticed when I watched ABC News live when the election was on, gave me a quick insight to daily life as an American watching TV, and I was coming away from, thank fuck I don't live in America. Jesus, what a horrible place. The amount of adverts shoving down it seemed like every 5 minutes, maybe it's every like 10 minutes, there's an advert telling you to have this pill, or telling you you need to be insured for this thing. And it was relentless because it was election night. It was for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours.
Right.
And it just to me, it's like, how do you put up with it?
Yeah.
Or is it now ingrained inside you because it's been splattered at you every 7 minutes? That I just couldn't believe how over the top it was. It was mental.
So I mean, I'm gonna speak for myself about the American way of life, and a lot of people are probably not gonna like what I'm gonna say. Is that Americans are pretty fucking lazy. And yeah, I'm going to make it a partial blanket statement because it's what I see. We're lazy. We don't do any investigative work. We search for a lot of negativity because that's what's being pumped to us. We search for content that is negative, hence all of the warmongering movies we make and the video games we make and we consume. And no matter where you go, you could walk down the street and see an advert for how to buy something, how to get in debt, what drug you should be taking, and then that drug gives you something you need to take another drug for. And the way we are towards our families, our friends. I mean, this country is literally being torn apart by our politics. You got extreme left, you got extreme right. No one wants to meet in the middle. And in my mind, if you wanted to take out a country and its idealization, you would slowly turn that country against themselves and have them rip themselves apart within. And that's exactly what the U.S. is doing to me. You can't trust anything you see on the internet. You can't trust anything you put into your system as far as consumption. Almost every single day, there's a recall on thousands and thousands of food products. And so what about the products we consume that didn't get a recall because they didn't catch it in time?
I mean, see the recall.
It's just, the U.S. is in this spot where people say it's the best country. It's the best country. Yeah, we have certain freedoms, and yeah, we can do certain things and roam the land without being ID'd. But I'll tell you what, the last I checked, the U.S. was like number 32 on the list in the places to live, you know, and if it's such a great country, why is that? I believe at one point the U.S. was a great place. I mean, any place we go to in this country, it's going to have its issues. nowhere you can go and not see ugly, you know. But I think certain countries, they have a way better way of life, and the people that run that country care more for the citizens than the U.S. And it's a reason why we're ranking so far down the line. It's a very tumultuous place, the U.S., and I remain optimistic because of what we do and who we meet. My personal my personal experience when I travel this reality through the U.S. So I don't watch the news. I don't watch mainstream media. And it's hard to believe what I'm saying, or what I'm not what I'm saying, but what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing. So I base now everything off of the experience of my life and who we meet and who we interact with. And we do the best we can to stay physically straight. We do the best we can to consume all of the right things without having to use any drugs unless needed. And I mean, you almost have to be accountable for yourself.
I've seen some of your adverts. Well, not some. I've seen fucking loads of them on that night. And they were telling how great all of them have this little thing at the end. I think we used to have it in England, where I think they're limited on how fast you can talk now. So what the Americans do on adverts now, if I remember rightly, they'll write it down of these side effects for the drug you're about to buy. And some of the things are mental. Like you might get this headache tablet, side effects, blah 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 blah. Oh, might kill you.
And death.
Yeah, exactly.
Or internal bleeding.
This headache tablet might give you migraine. Like, okay, so I've been upgraded then.
From
I know we both speak the same language, but if you ever come over here and don't go to fucking London, because that's not England. If you go to anywhere other than England and interact with people, you will be in shock, I think, about how we view the world on a daily basis. How you view the world on a daily basis.
But that's interesting, and it's fun and intriguing because we can learn something, right?
Right.
From somebody else. You can always learn something from somebody else. Whether
I'm not saying we're better, we're just different.
No. And I was going to finish my statement is we can learn something from somebody, and it could be something good that you learned or something bad that you learned.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot of what Lamont said in the UK anyway. However, my question, a counter question is, anywhere but the US, if you had to go somewhere else to live, where would you go?
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
Yeah, for me, it'd be Switzerland.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know anything.
Costa Rica.
Switzerland sounds great, shit. But it's the expat in Switzerland is great. But Costa Rica, because literally you have to slow. They say if you go to Costa Rica, be prepared for things not to happen when you want, but when they happen. And
it's definitely a slower pace of life.
The balance of technology, pura vida, the balance of technology and family is, that's part of the culture. Be prepared to stay home and do your hobbies and enjoy the scenery.
And be invited by a random person to their house for dinner.
Like Costa Rica to us, not and shit, even parts of Nicaragua and Panama. They're all the same. It's just a different way of life. It's slower than we can, and we've watched tons of movies. The wife is from Costa Rica. Yeah. And it's just slow. And a lot of people say when they go down there, when you're there for a month or 2 months, a lot of people leave and they go back to the States for one reason and one reason alone. You're left with your thoughts. Time moves god awful slow. And people take their time doing anything for you. But the medical is great.
I mean, their motto is pura vida. It's full of life, right? And they
have internet, Steve. Yes,
and they don't have an army. They refuse to have military there. They feel
Really?
like they don't. Oh yeah, they don't have a military there.
Oh,
They
you
don't have an
definitely
army.
sold it to
Yeah,
me.
and they're called the blue zone or the blue
They
belt.
are one of the blue zones. Yes,
Right, and the
They-
blue zones meaning like life expectancy
over 100.
over 100, and the food isn't tampered with. Everything comes from
What
it's
they
a-
grow.
Why are you
What
in
they grow.
Why are you in Indiana now then? Why are you not
Yeah.
in Costa Rica?
Well,
Finances.
finances.
We're not prepared to move to Costa Rica yet.
We still have, like, I strongly feel we still have a lot that we want to do here. There's no doubt about that.
But
So
that is a
where you
goal.
are isn't that bad then.
No,
Is it not that bad?
and it's
I
what
know.
Lamar was saying. Like, if you're in a city anywhere here in the U.S., I mean, it's tits up, you know. But if
But-
you're in a country like we are in Indiana,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
it is beautiful. It's a peace of
Yeah.
mind. It's slower, but you still have the same bullshit 30 miles away from here. But
Yeah.
we choose to live away from it.
Yeah. So keep in mind, Cressy, we always try to live away from the hustle and bustle.
Is a 30-mile buffer enough for you to stay there forever?
For
sort of
right
thing?
now, yes.
Yes, for right now,
Yes.
yes. And
So
that,
where you are, you're comfortable then. That's
oh
what
yeah,
you're
Yeah.
oh yeah, very.
Just-
Your,
Just
your,
because
your
we
ideal
have-
world is Costa Rica, but where you are, you're okay with.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Just because there's adverts and all this ill shit going on with America, it's still a beautiful place to live. If you outside of where I would like to go visit or maybe stay, I don't know nothing about Switzerland. I've done my homework on the region, but shit, Erie, Pennsylvania, next to Presque Isles, off the lake, could be. I can cancel my whole life there.
Northern Michigan or
It's
yeah.
about how you live your life where you're at.
Yeah,
You
or
don't have to
Maine.
adhere to all the bullshit.
Right.
I want to say probably maybe over 50% of the population here in the United States are just like us. You'll never hear about it because that's not what our media and our government likes to portray. It likes to portray that we're just these
Costa
war.
Rica's your end goal. How many things do you need to tick off before you actually go there? How many? What things do you need to attain?
So
You actually go,
mainly,
let's go.
so it's not a matter of attaining certain goals. It's a matter of being financially stable to
yeah.
move to Costa Rica. That's the most important thing.
Is that because Costa Rica won't make you financially stable? Therefore, you have to go there with a certain
Yes.
bag of money
Yes.
to make
Correct.
life
Yeah.
Yes.
usable.
So moving to Costa
Yes.
Rica is a retirement place, right? You go to Costa Rica not to plan to work. I mean, you can if you have a job that's work from home. You can move to
Yeah.
remote. A lot of people do that. They move to Costa Rica, work from home.
Or Vietnam.
And
Yeah.
they live like kings because the money there goes a long way. People are amazing. But for us, it's more of a retirement place. So we want Costa Rica to
So
be
you're
a
looking
retirement.
like 20 years in advance, or
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And planning now.
Probably less if we're being honest, because once I get
15 years.
once we get the farrier business back up and running, I told the wife, your main priority, and we're back up and running now, but to build up that client base, I said her main priority is to retire us in 5 to 10 years, and it's possible with the farrier business. So by the time I'm 55 years old, I want to be retired, and I want to be somewhere permanently. Where that is, Costa Rica is first on the list, you know. But that's our goal, you know. I want to do this YouTube thing
So
until
is your farrier business to pile up money, or is it to sell the business on and then take money from it?
well, one, there ain't nobody growing up wanting to be a farrier, Cressy, so it's not selling the business at all. But
We tried doing that.
I
We
mean,
tried
if you're going to
selling
go
it.
to Costa Rica, you know, do you want to leave your farrier business as a going concern in United States to then funnel you money via the staff you've hired to do your farrier business?
yeah, no, I'm not gonna. We're not running an enterprise. Once I'm done, I'm
Yeah,
done.
we're
I don't know about my brother,
Yeah,
but
but a farrier business is not that kind of business.
no, it's not that kind of business. Once I'm done, I'm done, and that's another reason why I don't want to leave the U.S. right now. It's like I still love and very passionate about horses and the farrier world. So I want to do that as long as I can. It's a dying art. There's no one coming after my brother and I once we're done. there's no one to even train to do the art anymore. Like no one wants to do that. It's hard.
None of
You
your
ble-
children are interested in that.
no,
are they?
because you bleed, you hurt, you sweat, you have to read tons of information. You have to have.
It's a dangerous job.
It's a
too.
dangerous job, but it's a lucrative and well worth the effort of solving issues and not giving up and being patient with a horse. You know. But once it's all said and done, I would like to be somewhere peaceful when I pass this planet. And peaceful to me could be Costa Rica, or it could be the state of Maine, you know, or it could be Alaska, or it could be somewhere in the UK. I don't know, but once we're said and done, you know, I don't want to have to worry about finances, and I definitely don't want to have to worry about if we have enough to sustain us until our life is done on this planet.
Mm-hmm. Uncle Chrome said, buy a piece of land. So interesting enough, in Costa Rica, it is a hell of a lot cheaper to buy a home already built
Than it is land.
than to buy land and build a home on it, because construction costs
Yes.
in Costa Rica is outrageous.
Outrageous. And they're only building so much because they have a really and I love the law out there. You're not cutting down that jungle.
No.
So whatever space is available, that's it.
To build on, then,
That's what you're getting.
yeah, you
And-
can.
What's corruption like over in Costa Rica? You know, when you have to like pay people to be able to do things. Like say you found a piece, say you found a building that you wanted to buy, you buy it and go, I need to make a change to it. I need to add something onto it. What's
Okay.
it like to
Okay,
extend and do things like that?
Let me answer this, Meryl. So there's a what they call a tika and a tico. I'll let Marilyn explain that. Okay. Once you've been identified as a tika and a tico, life for you is easier and you stand 100% less chance of being taken advantage of
Yeah.
or being victimized. Now, with that said, Cressy, it can easily happen here in the U.S. and the U.K.,
Yeah.
right? And we all know that.
Yeah.
But once they have identified you as, oh, you're from these lands,
Oh, we got
it's
you.
almost like you have a magic card to Costa Rica.
Your family. So because I'm Costa Rican, tica and a tico is just short for Costa Rican, or in male or female term in Spanish. It would be much easier for us to do things in Costa Rica because I'm Costa Rican. If it was just two Americans going in there, they would have to go through much more red tape than I would have to go through red tape.
Okay. And do they? What's the language of Costa Rica?
Español.
So the twins will have to learn Spanish then, really, to get on.
Yeah.
Oh, just one of
Yes.
us.
Yeah. So and,
Oh,
and
Yeah, she's been teaching me too.
yeah, and I've been teaching him.
Mhm.
I
But
know
Lamar
un
knows.
poquito de
Lamar
español.
knows enough to get him some help.
He knows
if need it.
espinacas.
Yeah.
I know my Spanish.
That's it.
I mean, but what does that look like for people in the UK? Is the UK on the same paradigm as the US? Like, are you guys looking to get out of the UK or somewhere where you consider a retirement zone?
You'd have to ask each person because you know where I live, it's ace. It's boring, but fucking ace. If I got completely rat-assed one night down the pub and I walk home, I've got zero chance, I would think, of getting mugged or anything like that on the way home, or shot or anything. You know, if anything befalls me on my way home, that's my fucking fault. I probably fell in the river or something stupid. But other people who live in cities, that's a different fucking world. So I think you have to go around and ask everybody what do they think of their location where they live at.
What about you, Grace, Steve?
Go on, Grace. You first.
I've been self-employed for nearly 30 years, and going back to most of that time, not so much now, but way back, private pensions as a self-employed person were a total waste of time and a rip-off, and you're going to lose your money. So I never did. So I'm probably going to work for a lot longer than many people. The state pension here is just about survivable, but it's not very much money. And I don't really want to stop working. Physically, I might have to, but that's for the future. But no, I can't. I can't see a way out, as it were, in that regard.
What about where you live? What's it like where you live, generally?
It's great, very friendly, very relatively safe. It's for an urban situation, it's really nice. Danger does lurk around corners. Sorry?
Are you in a city or a town or a village?
Yeah, I'm in Sheffield. I'm in the middle of Sheffield.
Oh, Sheffield. Okay, I've been in Sheffield.
Yeah. Sheffield's a really nice place. It's affordable. It's, as cities go, pretty safe.
Last time I went to Sheffield was in like 2002. My girlfriend at the time drove me up there, and we got stopped by some armed police. So that's my memory of Sheffield.
I knew you were coming, right?
What were you doing wrong, Cressy?
Well, she was going for an interview as a drummer in a band.
But why would you got pulled out? Why did you get pulled
We got
over?
lost. We saw some policemen like, "Where's this place?" And like, "Oh, you've got stab vests and guns and shit."
But there isn't a place you want to retire, Gracie? Like, or is that it? Like,
I'd like, if I could, I would like to retire to the seaside somewhere.
But still in your same country.
In the UK, like
In the
still
UK?
in the UK.
Not necessarily. A warmer climate might be more agreeable.
Go to Cornwall. Go and live next to Cornish waves.
It has been discussed. Actually, Dear Inky and I used to have a running joke about starting a retirement home for old ravers and feeding everybody lots of pills.
That would bloody work, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that was a regular
imagine?
conversation. Yeah.
A
She was
retirement
like, I want to be the
home
first client.
and the music be blaring at this retirement
Oh, it'd be really
place.
fun.
Well,
You're
if
like,
Gracie
what?
owned it, every room comes equipped with the Lyra 8.
Yeah, for real. And you must learn how to use it.
Yeah, it has a manual.
I think you've just defined cacophony, haven't you? I don't know. I mean, I've been to every corner of this planet with work. I've explored this world. I've been blessed to be paid to do so, and not just traveling, but traveling for work is a very enlightening thing, because you spend time, not much time, but time in all these different places, and you're generally working with people who live there. So you get to meet people in a totally different way to any kind of, tourism or vacation travel.
You're on the ground.
And it's just sort of reality. And do you know what I've learned from all of that is there are great places all over the world. There are great people all over the world. Most of what preoccupies us in our day-to-day lives and existence is basically the same. The politics, the technology, all these things we've touched on this evening, those are the distractions, actually. And when you actually get to hang out and work with people and do things with people, you might not speak the same language, you might have a different belief system, you might have a different sort of lifestyle, or but actually, the fundamental things that motivate us all and drive us along for happiness are basically the same things. You pair it all away, and the differences amongst us all around the planet is what makes the world a wonderful place and a fascinating place. And without them, it would be very, very, very boring and humdrum. But because of them, and if you can recognize that the differences are great, the world becomes a multicolored, wonderful environment to exist in. And therefore, as long as I get to live, I could live anywhere.
Yeah.
No, that's just me, and that's my experience for what little it's worth.
Yeah.
We're quite a lot because you've been in lots of places, so
More
I've
than-
been
more
to
than
lots of
me.
places many times as well. It's not just one visit. There's a lot.
yeah.
of
You've not just caught them on a good day. You've been there several times.
Like
so
the
you-
US, I've been all over the US. Probably explored more of the US than an awful lot of people who live in the US.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I've been there dozens of times. And I was trying to think the other day whether I've actually been to Fort Worth, and I can't honestly remember. It's quite possible though. But I don't know. I'm in a very privileged position to have had that experience. But you know, the simple
Are there any places that
takeaway is,
would you call like high points that you've been to? You go, oh, I wouldn't mind being there.
oh, loads. But that's the trouble. You're spoiled for choice once you get to that sort of level of exploration. It's like I love Chile and Uruguay. I love South America, but those two countries. I lived in Argentina when I was a kid. You know, all those countries are really lovely places and interesting. They've got their own problems, and they're quite. In some ways, they're quite unstable, but that's the finances, the economy, the politics, rather than the reality of living somewhere.
It's not the people.
I like the US and lots of different places in the US. I like Canada and Mexico, but I like pretty much any country in Europe has its merits. I love Scandinavia, and you know, I'm not so bothered about the desert.
Yeah.
But I've been to desert countries, and there've been interesting things to experience there as well. So I like Australia. New Zealand's amazing, but you know, I think when we all conceive these sort of questions, going back once again to the sort of the Maslow type idea, my family would be the first thing on my mind in terms of choices and decisions along those lines. I wouldn't want to be so far away from my family that I'd never get to see them.
Right.
And then swiftly behind that is my closest friends. And, you know, but I don't know. You can't answer it. You know, if you were a multimillionaire, you'd just take them all with you, but they may not want to be there. So,
Yeah.
If you're a multi-millionaire, you can kidnap them. Be fine.
Well,
Or you can change the environment in which you live in. So, I mean, yeah. What about you, Steve? We didn't hear from you.
Well, I was going to say the time I moved down here, I've been here in this location for 11 years, and I knew it was where I wanted to be seconds after I got here, pretty much. I often say to people, you could pull up a truckload of money in front of me and offer it to me and say, go back to London. And I'd say, no chance.
Where's here? Are you in another city?
Here is on the south coast of the UK. It's a place called St Leonard's on Sea. But if you know Hastings, as in the Battle of, just next door to the left, if you look at the map.
Okay.
So it's a little tiny place. It's a posh bit.
Is it a town or a city you're in?
It's a town, little tiny town.
Okay.
It's not a lot of well, I suppose there is quite a landmass of St Leonard's next to Hastings, but we're just a bit next to the water, and literally, like I say, the water's through that wall behind you there.
Right.
So no one can build in front of us, which is fantastic because there's not enough land there for a start. And it's interesting that Gracie said about living by the sea. It does something to you. It's very odd. It has something I can't explain. If you are next to a body of water like I am, and it's the English Channel, we're not talking about a glamorous piece of water here. We're not talking about the Atlantic or the Pacific. It's just the English Channel. But it does something to it. It's very strange. It kind of spellbinds you, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Does it make you feel like you're in the world more? If you know what I mean.
Don't know that it does. It's just
because you got can you see France from where you are, or is it just water what you see?
No, I can see up and down the coast if that's what you mean. I can't see anything in front of us. I know.
You can't see the other side of the English Channel, but you
can only
see is blue water.
5 miles out anyway. That's as far as you can see out. Because that's the curvature of the Earth. For all
depends how high you are, but
but even on the cliffs, you still can't see France.
Okay.
Because we've got cliffs right behind us. Oh, look, there's my cat just come in.
I just noticed.
So Luna's finally come in, and she's now going to sit on her spot. Hello, Luna. They're all looking at you now. There you go. Anyway, that's the cat. However, I've got to say, in the last few years, I've really felt the winter quite badly. This year particularly, and I know it's a getting old thing, but you know. It just is not like it used to be. I used to be able to go, yeah, whatever, no problem. Yeah, but now any bit of cold, and I'm like, "Ugh, this is awful." So if I had to transplant myself, say, to a coastal town in, say, I don't know, Spain maybe, or whatever's around the med from
Portugal.
there, or Malta. Actually, I've not been many places. I've been to Malta twice and France once, and France was closed. It was one of those times that Robbie told you about when everyone basically shuts up shop. That's how I saw France the one time I went there. And Malta is lovely. Well, it was 20 years ago when I went there.
Malta still is. It's a great place.
Excellent.
Malta.
The people are so nice. They're absolutely amazing, really accommodating. And if you try to talk to them in their own language as well, just learn a few bits of Maltese, which is a hellish language with loads of silent cues everywhere. But if you make the effort, they are incredibly appreciative of you just trying to just do that little thing. And they have a little laugh, and then you're best mates for the rest of your life, sort of thing. But I think wherever I went, if I went anywhere, I'd have to be next to water now. Have to be. No, I'm not talking about inland water. I'm talking about AC. It's just, I don't know, unquantifiable.
AC, not DC. Yeah.
Yeah, AC, not a DC. So yeah, I mean, you know, I'm really lucky. I'm also blessed to be able to live here at the moment. And do a lot of things that I want to do, because I get a lot of time of day looking after Jenny, who's in the room behind me, or that way. So you know, I'm very privileged, and there's many people who I've not got even close to what I have, and I thank my blessings every day. I really do. I get up and say, "Wow, I'm still here. This is incredible."
Yeah.
There's my hydrosynth over there. What? I've got a hydrosynth. Yeah. You know, it's just so, you know, this sort of thing. You know, Mac. I've got a Mac. You know, and lots of other stuff and things that I can use, and I can make music, or I can talk to people on the internet. I can play games and stuff. There's a lot of people that can't do any of that. And you know, sorry, I'm getting a bit thingy there, but
No. Your outlook is good. Your outlook is your glass is half full, not half empty.
always,
Right.
Which is
always.
the outlook to try and get.
I've always been a positive person, and I live my life in a positive way, and I try and help people when I can, and I don't dwell on stuff that is negative. I stopped watching the news 6 years ago, I think it was, a long time ago. I just said to Jenny, I said, I'm not watching this anymore. I've had enough. It's every day it's the same rubbish, so let's just get rid of that. And then maybe providentially, we used to watch broadcast TV on satellite. FreeSat it's called over here in the UK. It's basically free TV, but across the satellites on Astra, actually, the same one as Sky uses. And our antenna got moved in a big wind, so it just basically broke, and we needed to get it fixed, but we're just not going to bother. We just watch on demand, and that's not a lot, really. We watch the odd BBC programme here and there. I watch a thing called BBC Click every week, which is a technology programme that the BBC puts out. And that's, you know, a bit of Netflix here and there, a bit of Amazon here and there. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
Do you think that there's a place you go and visit and you go, man, this is just so beautiful. I want to live here.
Yeah, it's called Costa Rica.
Yeah, I was just going to say Costa Rica.
But you live there, and then once you're there for a year, you're like, oh, it's not so beautiful anymore.
I'm not sure. I don't know. You can't never say that, can you? You'd have to do it.
I can, because was only like 11 miles away. So, yeah, it's fine. Don't have to need to move there. It's like, you know, it's a 10-minute car journey. It's a 7-minute train journey. So, yeah.
So that's the whole saying is don't move to your vacation spot.
Move near it.
Move near it.
No, but there is this thing about going somewhere and not knowing if it's going to suit you completely. It's a sort of better the devil you know thing. I mean, I know this environment quite well now after 11 years, and I know it suits me very well. Whereas
retire to your vacation spot.
Well, yeah, maybe.
That's better.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be on vacation every day of your life after that. Anyways.
Right. But that's the biggest fears too, is some people move to something that's so beautiful. And when they get there, they go, okay, I've been here a year. All right, now what? Now it's not, it doesn't hold its majesty anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Enki moved to Cornwall and got quite bored of it. And, you know, Cornwall, if you is a destination you would like to go and live, and she went there and lived there, and it was like, Yeah, but fucking no one's near me. It's really boring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you don't know till you go there.
You also have to be that, have to have that type of personality, right? To go somewhere where there's not a lot of hustle and bustle,
Right.
and be okay with that.
Yeah, because when COVID hit, the wife and I were like, "Oh, everyone stays home." So
like, what
what's
changed?
changed for us? Because
Nothing.
that's all we did. We'd work, we'd come
Nothing.
home, and we wouldn't want to leave home.
Nothing
And we're
changed for
still the
us.
same way. I mean, we just don't care about outside in many ways unless we're on a road trip
Yeah.
or we're going to see something.
Mhm.
You know,
We're definitely happiest at home,
right?
making dinner, making food, sitting, eating, and then
not hearing a bunch of cars and helicopters and
watching a movie.
You have to
sirens.
go
and-
out to appreciate coming home, though, don't you? Sometimes.
Yeah.
And we do, and we
Right.
In a way,
do
a
that.
holiday
Yes.
sort of proves that you made the right choice to where
Yeah.
you live at.
Yes.
Well, it's funny because when we have vacationed and stuff, literally on vacation, we're like, God, we can't wait to get home.
Get home. we get inside of a city. As soon as you get into the city limits anywhere here in the U.S., and I know the two of us or the three of us can vouch for it, the stress level
The
that comes over
anxiety.
you
Oh.
is just ridiculous.
But we're
Is that-
just
is that
those
'cause you're
type
looking
of.
out for something about to kick off somewhere.
Oh my God, Cressy,
Well,
you have no
that-
idea.
And it's just the anxiety,
the driving,
the
the people, the
busyness.
aggression, the busy, the hustle, the bustle.
And we're just those type of people. We
Mm-hmm.
don't like the busyness. We don't like all this
At the
chaos
speed of life,
constantly, and everybody, and it's just and then there you have the flip side of other people who love living in the city, who wouldn't
Right.
even begin to dream about living in the country. They're like,
Yeah,
what?
like, why would
Like
you-
me when I go and visit London, all I want to do is leave it. It's just,
Mhm.
it's like if you're a record, right? I'm a 33 and a third RPM person, and you go to London and it's not even a 45, it's a 78.
75 or 78, yeah.
78. It's like, fuck this. It's like no one's got time. Just get out of my fucking way and bang, bang, bang.
Right.
That's the
I
biggest
can almost
difference that I
guarantee going to
noticed.
London and getting it. I don't get headaches. And getting a headache.
Yeah.
Just because I'm in London.
I
The
like
difference-
I like
sorry,
going to
Grace.
London.
The
Sorry.
biggest difference I noticed when I came down here was people are so much more accommodating and tolerant, and there's no in London there's a barrier on the bus to stop the bus drivers getting abused. Basically, they don't have them down here because it doesn't happen, and
That's
bus drivers
crazy.
actually say good morning and good afternoon to you.
Insane.
Sorry, Grace.
Let's
carry
hear
on.
Grace's
No,
retort on how on
No,
London. What's
I
your
like going
view?
to London. It's amazing. But I don't live there, and that's why I like going there because I can leave.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the whole point is you can leave, right?
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think that especially the cities like in California and stuff, I can to describe them, it would be like having Panda's music playing 24/7,
Yeah.
and then going in the country it would be like having Sigantron's music playing 24/7.
Mhm.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
got a question. Are you? Is anyone here from a city?
Yes.
London.
Yes.
And do you think if you stayed in the city, you would have? What was it like to leave such a hustle and bustling type
Oh
place?
my God.
What was the adjustment like when you moved to someone that's going much slower?
I can remember my brother and I left the city for the first time. We were at the age of 24.
Was it a big city?
It was, yes. It was Long Beach City in California and
Okay, yeah.
LA City. And we moved to the what they call up the hill to the Inland Empire. And we bought our first home together, him and I. And we bought horses, and it was slow. I think the one thing that set in on me was I didn't want to leave to go back to work. What about you?
Yep.
I didn't want to leave that house to go back to work, but we knew we had to in order to keep the damn house, And every time we went down that hill, we couldn't work, or we'd show up to work just thinking, I can't wait to get home. And then eventually I think the freedom of being in the Inland Empire ruled over our job. And so we had to find other means of work because we were over it. We were leaving the beautiful deserts of Wrightwood or San Bernardino County to go down in that shithole. You could see the smog line. Now, on the other hand, we love going to the city because we can go frisbee golfing, or you can go to certain restaurants, or you can go and do certain things with your friends. But like Gracie said, once that shit was done,
you can leave.
You can leave.
Yeah.
And you don't have to stay there. You can experience it when you want to experience it.
I think when I went from this city to countryside, I never looked back.
Yeah.
What was the motivation to leave? Why did you leave?
She left because I was leaving.
Well, and
but why
I think
were you leaving
we left because it was.
I was leaving to seek the farrier business.
Yeah, and then the city, I was just done and over with it. I think we were both done. Well, one, we were done with California.
Period.
Yeah.
And
Because even the what you would quote unquote call the countryside in California was starting to get busy. More and more people started migrating to those areas because the city was getting so overpopulated. So now your quiet, subdued areas were now starting to become a little less quiet.
Yeah, but she jumped off the damn cliff though, Cressy. Like when she left the city, my brother said, "Oh, well, what about Wyoming?" Because we were looking to go to Oregon, her and I. And he was like, "What about Wyoming? Because I can do like law enforcement work there, and supposedly it's a lot of horses that need to help." So, long story short, we went my brother and I were already liberated. We were living in a desolate desert where it wasn't a whole lot of population.
I was not.
She went straight into living in Wyoming. This is a huge state. The population of Wyoming is only 500,000 people. You drive through towns.
I think it was the size of my city.
Right? You drive through towns where it was, say, population of 3. You know? And so where we moved, she was like, "Oh my God, there's nothing but land here."
Yeah.
And my brother and I were like, it looks just like home to us.
I was in awe of the whole thing.
Did you have any initial regrets of moving?
No.
Was this a good idea?
Nope.
Zero.
No.
Zero.
Zero.
Not a one.
And I wish certain things, well, I can't say that. I don't want to rewind time, but I wish sometimes certain things didn't happen the way they did and we were still able to live in Wyoming.
I'm okay not living in Wyoming.
Yeah.
And that's only because of the weather.
Yeah. The weather can get colder than the planet of Mars.
Yeah. Here, at least we still have the seasons, but it's not like, holy smokes, if you leave your animal outside, they're going to die.
Right. Or it's negative 65. It got to negative 65 with the wind blowing. And that's rough for certain people. I don't know. What about you? You got any regrets leaving the city?
No.
Yeah.
No. It was good for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I enjoyed Wyoming when we were there. Do I want to go back
How
and
did you
move
come
there?
to want to move? What was? I don't get what the thing was. Did you have a holiday in the place you moved to? You going like, I could live
No.
there.
So for Lamont and I, it was, one, we were done with California. 2, he really wanted to focus on building his farrier career. And in California, that was impossible. Literally impossible because...
So it's a change of occupation made...
Well, not necessarily a change of occupation. He was a farrier in California, but to be successful it was really hard in California. Really hard.
Right,
So it was a matter of being successful in a different place.
And learning. That was the big thing too. Learning to be on your own and run a business and put yourself out there with no one to hold your hand. And I never liked the city. I mean, we were born and raised in it, but the shit him and I went through in the city as youth, I don't even know how we made it out of the fucking city, Cress. You know, like.
And I always loved the country.
It's crazy.
My stepdad who raised me, had a farm, and horses and cattle and sheep and all of that. And then every summer when we were off at school, I would be the only one of all the siblings to travel back to Costa Rica with my grandmother and spend 2.5 months there. And they're a third world country. And I loved it. I loved it. I mean, we stayed with family where when you had to use the restroom, you had to go out in the backyard because the outhouse was back there. There wasn't any indoor plumbing. And at the
I
age
remember
of
that at my grandma's house in little village about 15 miles away in the 70s. You go there to visit and you go, I need to go to the loo, and their loo was outside. And
yeah,
like
yeah,
Mine
But
was
it-
when I was growing up.
it was a thing you would not forget.
right.
Put it
Yeah,
that
but
way.
it was so weird for me being 10 until I was probably younger than 10 years of age. Until I was 16, I would always go every year. I would always go to Costa Rica. And for me, it was a sense of peace being there. Everything slowed down. You didn't have everything at, a call of a cell phone right away. You had to go outside to use the restroom. You had to go buy milk from the neighbor who has cows. I loved it. I loved it. And then having to go back to California, for all that city hustle and bustle, I was like, oh God, what
Do
is
you
this?
think the move happened at the right time? You was in the right place,
Oh,
as in
perfect.
your career, that you could do a move. And
Yeah,
then,
it was
then you
perfect.
did do a move.
We felt like pioneers in the Great West
Yeah.
with wagons and horses when we moved across the
You
country.
were doing the John Wayne thing.
we were
weren't you?
doing the
Yeah,
John Wayne
yeah.
thing, dude.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
And you know what's
moving
funny?
two families down there.
You
And
know
you like
what's
look at each other going like, "Can you believe this?" Like a month ago in that fucking shithole city.
Yeah.
Now look at us.
It was surreal. And we were in this small duplex apartment and we were just as happy as to be in
Tickled
that
pink.
than to go back to California. And you know what's funny? Simply Risky, when Simply Risky and Angie flew back home that night after the 100,
Oh, they texted us right away.
Simply Risky texted me.
They wanna
He said
Yes.
he got off the airplane and they were standing outside of LAX. And I said, how do you feel? And, he didn't text me. He called me. And I said, well, how do you feel? And he said, it feels like I'm dead.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the volumes of what he was talking about. And I'm sure he didn't know the volumes in which he was talking about when he said, I feel like I'm dead. All I want to do is get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically gone somewhere and he's pulled the curtain back, going like, "Oh shit, this place actually exists. This is
Yeah.
the
Yes.
place I
That's
really
how
want
it
to
could
be,
be.
not where I'm going back to."
Right.
Yeah.
Well, even if I got to take off, but even with that said, even if the time is not right and you want to get out, I think when you had your fill, you're gonna leave, and you got to be brave in doing that shit.
Right.
Like you can't have a fear switch, because the fear will always keep you in the city or the state or Providence, wherever you're at. It'll always keep you there. I think what makes bold people is leaving the comfort zone and going out like the pioneers did to find and settle new land. If it was really bad and it's not your cup of tea, or if the situation you can't sit well in it, then you got to change up the chair.
For all its faults, America still has. It's big enough to give you an opportunity to get out of one shithole into a whole new shithole.
You just got to be brave and do it. And I think that's what keeps a lot of people where they are right now, is just the fear and the unknown.
What if?
And as long as you have that, you're never going to experience what it's like to go out and get what's yours or see what's your cup of tea.
Did you ever wreck the idea of where you were going to go, or did you just go?
We did a little pioneering, like how they did back in the days. When we went out, Merrill made us an itinerary. We went out scouting to see which place was good to set up shop, and we did our due diligence, right? We didn't go out there blindfolded. We had a little better advantage, and then we found a spot, and we stuck to it, and we just did it. We committed.
Yeah, we definitely researched. I did a lot of research. We did a lot of research before with Oregon, before we decided on doing Wyoming. And then when we decided to do Wyoming,
Your first guess was to go to Oregon, but you did your research. Went, no. didn't quite
Right.
tick the boxes.
Yeah.
And you went to Wyoming or what?
Yeah.
And
Right.
it
Yeah.
that Wyoming move was the most brilliant thing we could have
Are
done.
they near each other, by the way? Because I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, it got us out of California.
It got us
and
out
that
of
was
California.
that was the
Right.
stepping stone.
but it taught us a lot.
a whole
Yeah,
bunch.
I
taught
mean,
us a
it
lot.
could have been Utah, Idaho.
Yeah.
You know, it was just it just happened to
It
be
just,
Wyoming.
it just needed a stepping stone. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter
Yeah.
what state it
We
was.
just
It was
needed
just
to
something.
go.
We just needed to go.
Yeah.
With that said, I love you guys. I will catch you guys tomorrow. I got my 2 boys. I got to go take out. and
Enjoy your
spank.
weekend, mate. Have a good one.
But I will catch up with you
Fun
guys.
out, mate.
Yeah,
All right.
Take
I
care.
love you guys.
It's 9
Bye.
o'clock.
yeah,
See you tomorrow.
So yeah.
We'll catch you later.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, we are going next week. We are going to be working on the album solely, and we're going to air that live. There was a debate if we wanted to do that in front of people or not, but yeah, we're going to do that Monday until the album is done. So who knows how long that's going to be. And in Discord, we're asking anyone who wants to feature on, I don't know how many tracks we're doing, but it would be nice if we can have anyone who wants to feature on our album. And we can have multiple.
Didn't we say two tracks because they last so long?
Cressy said 2 tracks.
Right, Cressy?
But the
He said, what?
the one thing I like about the S.O.R family is, one, it's not about my brother and MARELYN and I. It's about all of us, and we want our first album to be about all of us. You know, it's something that a lot of artists don't do. You know, whether it be for they want it to be their own experience for their first album or not. I don't know. I can't speak for everyone, but for us, we thought, how cool would it be if we took the entire family with us and put them on our first album? You know, I don't know if we're going to create another album. You know, creating albums is not my thing. YouTube and playing music with friends and having that archive, that's
You
my
don't know yet, though, do you?
that's my thing. you
Yeah,
know?
that's
Don't
very
know.
true.
Until you
but-
make an album, you don't know if you actually like making albums.
Well, I mean, I know the process of. It's not like we put together an album with our band a long time ago. So I know the process. I know what it's like to have one. I just don't dig it personally. I just don't. It's just not my thing. You know, if it's your thing or not. If you're going to make an album and you go, oh, I like this. I like the process of, and you know, I'm
It
putting
depends how
together.
it goes, doesn't it? If like you say, if it's a process you've got to go through so you can finish and go, there you go, done with the album, brilliant. Right,
Yeah.
next. Or
Yeah.
if you view it as an opportunity to be really creative, and it's so you're excited by what you're doing rather than just ticking that track's done, this track done,
Right.
that track's done. Depends how it works out. If it's full of shit, how do I do this? How do I do that? And it's just doing your head in.
It's
then
not going to
you
make
won't-
it fun, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you
Right.
can't, if it's all problem solving, that's not fun, is it?
Right. But for me, I'm just speaking for me and not my brother. I could give a shit about an album, Cressy. To be honest, I just don't care. We've done it. I've done it once with our old band. It's just not something that I really care about. The only reason why I want to do it is my brother and I always wanted to put out something together, and so just like any other task or challenge we do, we'll put it out. And I don't know how long it's going to take us, and I don't know how, like you said, I don't know how I'm going to feel after the album is completed. Maybe you're right. Maybe I go, oh, that album sounded so cool. Let's do another one. I'm just not motivated or geared that way. The things that I know would make me extremely happy and giddy and I love is when we come on here and we create a track from scratch or an old track from a rebuild, and then all of our friends come in and play with us. To me,
I think, but most people
that's amazing.
love the creation process more than the finishing it off, and that might be practicing it enough to play it live is work, or being or recording it is also work as well.
Right.
But but you can also still be creative in it. So
Right.
it depends how you look at it. I get what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but
Mm-hmm.
but to me, for me, recording is something. It's an actual thing. It's
Right.
not a moment in. Well, it is a historical record of a moment in time.
In time. Yeah.
Whereas if you do like a live stream of a gig, well, you know, yeah, it's got a lifespan of a week, and then it's dead.
Right.
So
You know what was fun
depends.
was the score, right? What we did Friday night.
Yeah.
That was fun
Like
yesterday.
going into Ableton and putting that together and doing that. I mean, that was fun.
You did good. I like the Foley stuff. As
Right.
well. Yeah.
Steven
First time doing
Simon
it.
Great Bitch did amazing.
Yeah.
That damn great bitch.
You know,
Steve
that
Bitch.
to me is
It's,
fun.
Steve
Yeah.
bitch. Those damn Steve bitch.
Yeah.
Steve Bitch and
The new clever,
Bitchin'.
Cressy, clever.
I think I'm glad I've been missing these.
Oh, you've been
Well,
missing a lot.
You're missing a lot,
Gracie.
Grace. Fuck's sake.
You missed Lamont just go off on a crazy rant the other day too.
Yeah,
No, really?
Somebody,
You do surprise me.
somebody managed to piss me off, Gracie, and
noticed. Yeah. that was
you
a good
know,
one.
I rarely let people get under my skin, but for a person to do that while we're on live air, and there's been some history behind, you know,
It's enough is enough.
enough was enough. I just had
and
to
he
end that.
blew his casket.
So, but hey, you know what? When you're live, you get the emotions of at the moment.
Well, you get
know?
everything, right?
You get everything.
Yeah.
Like since Samurai said earlier, you don't get this beautiful piece of edited, no mistakes, everything's perfect. Oops, you probably shouldn't have said that. Oh, damn, now we can't edit it
Right.
out. Like you just
let
get
me-
raw.
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have you heard the sentiment, the live version is so much more exciting or fun than the recorded version?
I hear it a lot.
Said about many different artists and many different albums or songs.
Oh yeah, all the time.
And all that, what you're talking about is encapsulated in that idea. And I mean, this is coming from someone who's had a 30-year career in live music. And it is, you know, it's all those things you've identified are why, because the jeopardy and the being on the edge, it could all go horribly wrong. All that stuff is really, really important. And beyond that, so in many ways, a recorded version can be thought of as a perfect version, but it's still just a moment in time. A moment in time when you go, yeah, that's finished, that's done, I'm happy with that. And yeah, that's it. But equally, when you go and play that song live, day after day, night after night, for months and years on end, each of those is a moment in time. And, you know, unless you use backing tracks and pre-recorded versions of it and just do something over the top, it will be different every night.
Right.
What I do when I do recording, or what I stopped doing, and that was down to hardware jams, thanks, was I used to do millions of takes of stuff, and then you got like loads of takes going on. Well, which bit of that take is okay, and which bit of this take is okay, and that end bit was okay. You end up chopping them all up and then assembling together like some shit jigsaw. And I've stopped doing that, and the main reason I stopped doing that is I've started doing hardware jams. You don't have the fucking time to fuck about. You just need to, but I still write songs when I do hardware jams. So my approach to doing recording is, if I can, if it's a vocal, it's usually the take, unless it goes horribly wrong, then it might be the second or third take. But you can kill all your motivation, all your energy by doing millions and millions of takes,
Right.
and trying to aim for that perfection. And an example, a friend of mine, they did a live recording. I think they recorded it on an iPhone. It was plugged into a microphone in the middle of the room, and it was the band, three of them, sat around it doing a live take of this song. And I thought, that's quite good, quite like that. And then, we're going to go in the studio now. They went in the studio and they managed to absolutely ruin the song by going in the studio and doing what felt like loads of takes, and whoever the producer was, they had this like sort of view of what to do, i.e. we're not going to do the live version, we'll do this one, we'll get a drummer in and we'll do that, blah blah blah, and it completely lost the song.
Right.
And I emailed her saying, like, I know you've taken down your live one, and you might not want to hear this, but your live one's way better than your recorded one, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my
which is really cool.
my idea is much like the Crazy Rabbit. You know,
Have
it's
fun while you're recording is my mantra.
but be sporadic, and I don't like guidelines. I just wanna play music.
Don't kill the vibe.
Right, because like I said, my number one passion isn't music. My number one passion is being a blacksmith farrier, hands down. That's my number one passion. And when I'm not being the blacksmith farrier, I want to come in here and I just want to play music. But don't get me wrong. We want to, and she's going to put the channel up in Discord this weekend.
It's already there.
It's already there. Yeah. So if any one of you, or Cressy, I already know you are going to be on a couple of tracks, whether you like it or not.
I guess you've been voluntold.
If any one of you
one step backward leaves me standing there going, oh shit, yeah.
if any one of you Saurians want to get on this album and feature, like we plan on having 2 people maybe on a track at any given time. Like, we strongly encourage you to go on this ride with us. It's for the people, by the people, and we couldn't think of a better way to do it. So the channel will be up in Discord.
It's up already.
It's up already. If you want to, please sign up. Starting next week, we are just working on all of our album stuff, so it's going to get a little bit repetitive, but we hope to have it done soon. And it's much like Cressy said, we're not aiming to do this shit a million takes. We're probably more or less going to do it how we do the lives. We're going to get into Ableton and just go, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we got to take some things off and redo it. That's fine. You know, it's not like I don't love the recording process. It's just, it's not my passion. So please, anyone who wants to do that with us, please sign up and do that. It doesn't matter about your skill. Please take that shit and just throw it out the window. No one gives a fuck about your skill. You know what sounds good. And if you submit something or we're working together and we don't like it, don't take it to heart. Go back to the drawing boards and fucking figure it out.
Are you going to list out each track will be like, whatever, say like 120 BPM?
Yes.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. Whatever. So we know we can drag a bit into whatever we've got and put our little bit on top.
Okay, so actually, Cressy, Monday is the first track with you, me, and my brother. So that right there will be a tutorial for everyone. So
like a how-to sort of thing. Okay.
Right. So when you come on Monday with us, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to work through it. We're going to figure it. We're going to sort it and go, okay, this is how we can move forward on the next track, because we're not going to be rushed by any stretch of the imagination. But I don't want to make this a forever fucking thing either. I want to get down the road and continue to do more things.
It wouldn't be a forever thing if you would stop deleting all of our percussions.
So
just saying.
I recovered the drums pretty quickly here. So
yes, you did. You did good.
Yeah. So please, we encourage you, Steve, Grace, Rabbit, Crone, Davey, or whoever's here, you hear
Biscuit,
this message.
I wish you can be in the studio too. What the heck, man? We need your
Simeon, Viral
back
Beats,
of the hand knowledge of
George
Ableton.
G.
It would be good to ask people in the chat.
Huh.
How many people in the chat know Ableton and can be a resource for any question. Because I don't know Ableton.
Right.
But you're
yes.
trying to use Ableton.
Biscuit apparently is. He knows it like the back of his hand.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay. So let's get a list of people who know Ableton. So
Ableton,
when
yeah,
you come up
'cause-
with a problem, you're not just scratching your ass trying to go like, oh, well, I don't know what to do.
Because I do not know Ableton
He doesn't scratch his
at
ass. He
all,
scratches
other than how
mine.
to operate it.
Whatever.
A little bit.
Scratch your knee. Yeah. Sounds like me anyway.
I don't have a passport.
But yeah, to get Simon,
But
great
we can
bitch.
we
and-
can bring you in here virtually, Biscuit. Look at what
Yeah, you can zoom
Cressy
it, can't you?
and
Yeah,
and
Cuba.
Elect
Son of a
Games. I don't know who
And
you are. You're new, but get in on it.
and Gracie are doing. They're
Can I
here.
just let you know, Alexi Games is a really good friend of mine. I've known her for 6
Okay.
years. Fantastic
Oh,
young lady.
well, there
Great to see her in
okay.
the chat.
Well, there you go.
My lady.
Right, Lexi, sorry.
Jerry's World. Oh, he knows Cubase. But yeah, anyone who knows Ableton, we're going to have tons of questions on.
Oh, nice, Simon. Simon
to
just
manage it.
signed up for it.
Oh, thank you, Simon.
And I know which
Just
one
change
he
their
would.
Monica, I know Ableton too. I can read it. Who would that be? Let me think.
I know what song Simon would be perfect for.
Oh yeah, a couple of them too.
I've got an
But
idea
I-
for a thing, but
Huh.
I think we should discuss it in private to keep the surprise.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I like when Gracie tells
like-
me things and
Teasers.
and
Yeah, right.
describes things. It's almost like she does it in this story
She
where
said,
read it again, Gracie, would you please? Okay. Now that we're going to figure that out Monday, the next bit of information I want to get while Cressy is here is we did the score. Now, Cressy, should we revisit and do a couple of more before we do this large group thing? What's your thoughts on this? Because I think it went pretty well for the first one.
Yeah, it went okay, didn't it? What would be the next step scoring wise? Because the first one was completely open. Here's a film. Put some music to it.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you want it? Where do you want this scoring idea to go? Do you have a particular roadmap of where you want it to go? Do you want just more of it?
Right, like kind of like Hardware Jams throws out a theme, like I just want to throw out different.
So now you want it to be more specific.
Now let's get more specific and more technical with it, and let's try to stick within certain guidelines and boundaries as of real world, kind of like what Steve and Simon did.
You might want to say that on the edits of whatever the clip you're going to use, the music needs to change or denote something to it, like you've got a director's notes along with the thing.
Yeah, can
Yeah.
we have a
Right.
film with Foley already in it this time, please?
With
Very challenging.
well, they do that afterwards. So.
Did you notice when the photograph falls into the fire? Did you hear the woof that happens?
No.
Did you not notice that? I actually did that on my stove. I was recording my stove with the flames coming up.
I think
Oh, I have to go
Sound
back and
effect.
listen. I did hear the fire though. I heard
Yeah.
the
I
fire.
knew it would be you doing it. Put it that way. I
It's
knew
like,
you were doing all the Foley
And I
on
did
it.
a few of those just to like the roses falling. That's actually me, and it
Yeah.
was very challenging. So I'd like a film with Foley already there, and actually
Yeah.
dialogue as well, and then
Right.
score to
Right.
that if you can. Possibly.
Okay. So I mean that's a great point, Steve.
I guess we can get a film and I can put the Foley in there.
The problem will be if the idea is I want to film so we can do some score to that already has some talking in it, then you need to go and find a film that has no music in it.
Right. Yes.
right.
Yeah,
Yep.
which is not going to be easy, is it? Because most films
Well,
have music in.
There is. You could try and approach a film foundation or a college that would have film which has been shot but have no music to it.
Music. Right. Yeah.
I'm sure they would accommodate us, particularly if you tell them what it's for, because it's a method of learning. And find a few and just basically email them, say, look,
It's either that
we
or
are
find
this.
something on the
We'd like to do this.
Internet
Okay.
archive. that might
Let's
have
put
it.
that in Discord then. Steve, if you want to put one in your Discord so we can kind of spread it out there a bit.
A one of what?
let's figure out how we can get people to get out there and find some video footage or
Copyright free.
copyright free.
Copyright free. Maybe got some dialogue on it.
music.
May or may not have Foley on it. Does not require music at all. Must be completely music free.
Music free, yeah.
And how long are we trying to do this? Because I kind of feel like it was so short yesterday that
I would say this time around, no more than 7 minutes.
no more than 7 minutes would be great.
Yeah.
Because we did 3.
We did 3.
So now let's add a little bit more.
And so, I mean, well, technically, the 2 we did, not everyone did 2, but that was 6 minutes if you total it all up.
Yeah, so no more than 7.
I think the steps we could take. Let me not be the boss, but I am sort of bossy. How about the next one? We're going to say has dialogue in it, may or may not have Foley in it, and that is the thing. That's it. And then if we continue to progress it at some point, then we'll have director's notes to say on this cut, on this video edit, something needs to happen. But the one before that, as in the next one, is just going to be, it's going to have dialogue, and you're going to have to, you as a musical person will need to weave in where your music fits with the dialogue.
So what you're saying is baby steps, don't
spoon
feed them before they can even chew.
To the moon. Let's go to like next door. You know.
Okay. All right. So
Biscuit said,
if you do too big a jump, you're going to turn people off going, I don't know what to fucking do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Biscuit said 7 to 10 minutes. 10 minutes is probably a good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So should we work in groups or should we still do it as we did? Individual, or if you want to work with someone, you can like Steve and Simon did. They collabed. Yeah.
Why don't find a similar channel with who are video creators and see if you can collab? Yep. That's a good idea, Simon. He said try to find a similar channel that does videos, like they do their own video, and see if you can collab with them, feature their video, and then we can score over their video.
Like a YouTube channel that's doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and anybody who has any ideas, you know where to go inside Discord for at least.
Bye, Alexia Games. Thanks for stopping by.
See ya. Thank you. Going to Discord, going to scoring with S.O.R. And if anyone has any ideas, place them there.
Yeah. But for now, the next event is the Popcorn Birthday Team Jam event. People have signed up for it. When did I say I was going to close it? Next week, right? Thursday. Thursday is the last day to sign up for that. And then Friday before Popcorn Night, we'll pick names out of a hat for the teams. And then those teams will create a birthday song for the twins, and that will be aired February 14th, which is a Friday and is their actual birthday.
What's Chrome talking about? Archive.org?
Oh, it's a Foley. He says if you have a Mac and you want to do Foley, you must go to this website.
Okay.
Yeah. Right? Is that the one? No, that's archive.org. So that must be for something else. That must be for video stuff.
For adding Foley, Mac users need to check out Audio Design Desk. That's
Audio Design Desk. Okay, so what's archive.org?
There's loads of Foley sites, isn't there? There's loads.
I'd
imagine Steve would know where they are because he's already been there.
It's websites that have been archived.
Yeah.
Archive.org.
Yeah, but a website for what?
All sorts of things. Internet, media, pictures, all sorts of stuff.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Is that like all royalty-free stuff?
I don't think all of it is, but there's a large proportion of it is.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's worth looking
so
at.
it's free video stuff.
It's a
Okay.
repository of free video, but I'm pretty sure it's got other media on it as well.
Okay, got it. All right, I think that's it for us, huh, babe?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
One day when I've got time, I'll
Yes.
make some video for you.
Ooh, yay.
Let's have a look. Way off in the distance somewhere.
Gracie's like, I'm only thinking about
I
tonight.
thought we were going to do it right after the show, Gracie. Like, what was on your mind? I
I've
want to
got,
know
no,
now.
I've got a
Monday.
jam to make. Oh,
No, she
Oh,
has a jam to make.
okay.
Yeah.
Raspberry.
Sorry.
I've
Plum.
got plenty of things to do.
Well, chitty chitty bang bang on then. Fuck.
It's been good chatting, guys.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a good chat.
Interesting.
Tomorrow we have Robbie
Robbie.
on. We got some great
Which
questions
Robbie?
for the man.
Robbie the Planter, Robbie Pacelli.
Robbie from PSN.
Mario.
Yes. Mario.
PSN.
The real life Mario.
The real life Mario. Yeah.
Yeah, he's on at 2 p.m.
2 p.m. We're going to ask boatload of questions. And
Yeah, get all your juicy questions.
should be really good. It should be really good.
And then
It should
straight
be
after
very
that,
good.
we got Get Jervis.
And then straight
And
after
then,
that, Jervis. Is Luke coming on before us, or he's going
No,
on early?
he does early. He does his January
Okay.
super early.
Okay.
Stupid early.
Is there anyone after Get Jervis?
I don't think so.
No.
Maybe Jeff Hopkins will
Recon
do
or something,
his.
Oh yeah, Jeff Hopkins is every night at 9:30
Yeah.
Eastern Standard Time. If you
He's
like the
doing his
Lindstrom and all that
January.
modular shit Grace does, and
He may show you his feet if you
yeah,
ask.
he may show you his feet. He's already in trouble for showing us his feet. The image got out at his job, and they're making
The
fun of him because
screenshot
they're
of his feet is going around his job.
posting.
Jervis.
Yeah.
Simon says, don't forget Jamie at 6 p.m.
Yeah, GeoSynths is back on. isn't he?
Yeah. Cheers.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that one.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
Who's on at 6?
You got the link? Anybody got the link for that?
Jamie. What's
Who's
it
that?
called?
Okay.
Simon, put the name
GeoSynths is going
in
to do
the,
a run
chat so you'll
through a
find it.
Breezes Fusion. How to make sounds in it.
Hmm.
Jamie Morden.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but
Yeah, I
let's-
don't know that
I'm
one.
I'm
Yeah,
curious
he's,
now.
he's been off the grid for a while because his mum
Oh,
died.
it's
but he's back
GeoSynths.
now.
Oh,
Mm.
Geosynths.
Just
Yeah.
bear with me. I'll have a look. Get the
He's
link
great.
before
He's
we go.
an original. He's one of the.
Yeah,
best people
he
in
puts
our
on
world.
amazing EMOMs, doesn't he? He does amazing.
He's
EMOMs.
stopped doing EMOMs now. It was
I
too
know,
much for him.
but they were amazing.
They were fun. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Oh, we got to check this person
Mhm,
out.
I've heard
yeah.
of the Geosynths.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a sound
Such-
designer. He makes patches.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
really?
Oh, yeah. I know
Yeah.
this guy.
Okay.
I'm subscribed for God's sake.
Nah.
I've got so many subscriptions.
Was there a link? Was there a link?
They're
coming,
going to
coming,
post
coming.
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's coming.
Yeah.
I'll
Yep.
sort it, yeah.
It
You
is
know,
coming.
he's lovely as well. He's a really good guy
Yeah.
and very, very makes great patches.
There you go. You
yeah.
all know what it is. There's a link.
Knows his synths.
What time are we going on Monday? So we know. Are we doing 4 or 5?
5.
Because you have a doctor's appointment, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
From my back. That's never getting better. Hopefully this Monday appointment will finally make it better.
Oh, there's the link. Okay.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah,
And then
click on
here is the Google Doc link to sign up for
Subbed.
the Team Jam birthday Team Jam event. A wonderful Google Doc created by Panda. Don't give Panda a task. Really,
Yeah.
just
How many people signed up already now?
he
I know it
said
was
yesterday 10.
Okay. Okay.
10 or 11.
There was some
I
more.
forget.
Someone else signed up too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and if you're not
excuse
in
me.
our Discord and you sign up, please make sure you email me your contact information because then I wouldn't know how to get a hold of you, and neither would your partner. So, and it's teams of 2. If we get an odd number, then one team will be a team of 3.
Cool.
So that's
Um,
how we'll take care of that.
Can I stick a link in the chat?
Yeah.
Do
what you need to do, Steve.
Sure.
We had someone pop in earlier on. I hope he's still watching. Adam, dear S.O.R Ray. Just wanted you to have a look at his Bandcamp page because his music is quite interesting. I've just posted it.
Okay.
Have a quick look at that and have a listen and see what you think. I think you guys will actually like it.
Biscuit
Symptom.
put hashtag SOAR is not a cult. It's a movement. That's
It's
right.
a movement. I'll check that
I
out,
think
Steve.
you proved that it is, didn't you, just now?
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, Gracie.
We just
You joined, didn't
we just
you?
don't wear the funny robes and stuff. Is all I'm saying. You
I mean,
know?
we can.
yeah.
We should get ropes.
Not yet. Cressy
Have we got a
said,
special handshake yet?
That was a bit too quick and keen.
yeah, it was
Right?
like Cressy had a plan already.
He was
I've got a
just
hat. I've got a hat
waiting.
designs, mate. He's got pointy top.
As long as they're not cone-shaped hats.
We're
Oh,
all
you've ruined
good.
it, man.
All right, if they are, they must be pink.
I'll round the top off a bit. Be all right.
There
Yeah,
you
there you
go.
go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. For now, everybody head over to the Pubness
The pubness.
and go see what kind of madness they're doing.
And you got the fader, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody, for
Thanks,
showing.
everybody.
We'll see you
Day,
tomorrow.
night, whatever. Catch you later.
Later.
Bye.